Hey guys, welcome to a Game of the Year discussion for 2017. And can I just say, holy crap, has this been a year for games. Not for everything else, but
Mm.
for games
That's an
especially.
understatement.
Oh, definitely.
So we decided that this year, there's been a lot that we've been kind of playing. We've been talking back and forth in our own time about a lot of different things. Let's just go ahead and do a proper podcast on this one. So this is going to be a long discussion. So today we're here to discuss our favorite games of 2017. And we have 4 different categories for this because I don't want to just have us talk about our top 10s because we play a lot of similar games. So our lists are going to be kind of similar, I imagine. So we have 4 different categories: disappointing game of the year, surprising game of the year, honorable mentions, and of course the obligatory game of the year list. If you listen to top-down perspective, this kind of style is similar to what they do, just with some lesser categories. So I guess we should just jump into things and start with a low note and talk about some games we didn't really enjoy that much this year. With disappointing game of the year.
Let's start off let's start off with the crap we don't like first. I mean, that's what you do with every full course meal, right?
You eat the broccoli now. That way you can get to that layered cake at the very end.
You eat the pineapple first so you can finish the pizza.
Oh,
Why
I know what
does
team you're on.
Everybody hates pineapple on pizza. Am I the only one that likes that?
I'm kidding.
I don't
On
know
the
who you
bad
are
scale,
anymore.
it's maybe a 2.
Can we kick him out now because he said he likes pineapples?
At least I won't be like Jacksepticeye and actually put a full
right,
pineapple
enough.
on a pizza and show it on Twitter.
So, what games we don't like? Let's go ahead and discuss that one before we
Yes.
make a flame war with pizzas.
So, did anyone want to go first?
So,
'Cause I had a burning
I'll
one in
start
my
us
head.
off. So, how this one's going to work, I'm just explain the category, jumping into it. Disappointing game pretty much means that this is a game that we didn't necessarily think was bad, but it's a game that we thought could have been better. We had high hope for, and in the end, just kind of let us down. So, I'll start this
Can
one
it be
off.
games that are bad though?
Well, you say that. I'm going to
Dirty.
start this one off with my number 3 choice for a disappointing game, Sonic Forces. This one,
Ooh.
I was actually pretty excited going in. I really enjoyed my first playthrough, but the more I go back to it, the more I'm starting to feel like how I do with Sonic 4 Episode 1. It's not a bad game, but it's also not a good game either. It's just kind of there. And it has a lot of problems. Like, the story's bad, but this is a Sonic game. Can you name me a good story from a Sonic game? It's kind of hard.
I've never known Sonic games to have like awesome stories unless they didn't take themselves seriously.
Yeah, and the characters here, I feel like some of them just were not explained, and now that's kind of added more plot holes to the series, which it didn't need already. Look at the moon. Now we have classic Sonic just kind of being here, and Adventure 1 still being a thing, so there's a lot of plot holes now. The control in the game didn't really click to me as much because classic Sonic's control I can't really get into as much anymore. He feels very, very snappy to a point where I just can't control midair, and he has terrible momentum. You have to spin dash everywhere. Modern Sonic's control is a little too loose because you can easily boost off edges if you're not careful, and you really notice the lack of drift because of that. The levels can be kind of short, lasting to maybe 2 minutes at the most, if you're taking your time. And in particular, the PC version, can I just say, not the greatest. Like, when the game first came out, people were reporting that the PC version was crashing past stage 3. I didn't get that issue, but every single time I turn on the game, I swear it does not want to play full screen. It's in this random windowed mode no matter what I do. I always have to go into the settings and fix it. There's just a lot of weird quirks with this game, and it could have been a lot better, but it just was kind of there.
I kind of agree with you for the most part that it's not like I saw a lot of people say it's a horrible game. I'm like, no, it's not. It's just like it's just horribly mediocre. I think
Yeah.
that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even find this like bad to the levels of like Sonic 06 and Sonic Boom. Like, those games are bad for a reason. You can actually talk about those and make fun of
I
it.
had to give it a grade.
Yes.
It'd be a C plus, baby.
Yeah,
That's
I don't even
think-
go as high as a C plus.
I will interject and say I think the big problem with Sonic Forces is every time I saw footage of it, the best analogy I can give is it's like someone put Sonic Generations in a paper shredder and then they put all of the strips in ink dye, and then they tried to tape all the strips back together to make the original piece of paper. Because every time I see footage of Sonic Forces, I can see old Sonic Generations levels, basically with stickers just posted over the top to make them look different. In every new bit of footage, I'm just like, oh, hi, look, it's Casino Night Zone, just from a different angle. Oh, hey, look, it's Chemical Plant Zone, but frozen. Oh, hey, look, it's Green Hill Zone, but now it's turning into white space. But now it's turning into a desert. But now there's the Egg Dragoon. But...
and that goes back to my complaint about the levels being too short, because I like some of the designs they use for these brought back stages. I like the winter aesthetic, the Chemical Plant. I like the idea of turning Green Hill into a sand area, but they don't capitalize on that much, because Green Hill, for example, you're in that sand section for like 20 seconds, because you boost straight to the end. It's very short. They could have capitalized on so much, but I feel like they played this one a lot safer than they needed to this time, and it's kind of there. That's my big complaint. So,
can I mention that? I think I was talking to you earlier, like probably yesterday about this, Lester. But music, like I like the music, but it is all over the place.
Yeah, the soundtrack's also one of the weakest ones for a Sonic game in quite some time.
I will never listen to classic Green Hill Zone ever again. Classic Green Hill Zone is terrible. It sounds like the synth keyboard's just out of tune the whole entire time.
Yeah, it's
I'll be
bad.
honest, soundtrack-wise, the time when I was the most excited for Sonic Forces was when someone spoofed an instrumental version sped up of All-Star by Smash Mouth, and they're like, this is the Green Hill Zone modern track for Sonic Forces. I'm like, actually, I don't mind. Hang on. God damn it.
Now, there's some tracks in the game that I do like Infinite's boss fight music and the final boss music, final boss's music. I like that. But other than that, like there's some like Aqua Road is a pretty sound music.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The soundtrack's just kind of all over the place.
I'm not used to techno yet.
Yeah, the techno's really the one that throws me off. But that's my my number 3 disappointing game this year. I really went to this game with high hopes, hoping for the best, because it was from the same people who made Sonic Colors and Generations, which is really big false advertisement. What they really meant was this was one guy who worked on level design for one of those games, and then 2 of the other of the 3 level designers were brand new. So it had a lot of hope.
I think that was kind of misinterpreted. I honestly think what they meant when they said that was it's made by Sonic Team.
Pretty much, because they put that there for Sonic Colors and Generations advertisements because they knew that was some of their best sellings in years.
Not the exact same people that worked on those games. No, I think they just meant to say it's made by Sonic.
Yeah, it's that thing you see movie trailers do.
Why didn't you just say that?
It's the same thing you see a lot of movie companies do. So that was my most third number disappointing game. So who wants to go next?
I will.
Male.
So I'm probably going to get a lot of flame for this, and this is coming from a perspective that is totally third party. But my number 3 most specifically disappointing game, and this comes from a lot of different places, is actually Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. And here's the reason why. It comes down to one thing. It's a fact of, we had Sun and Moon presented to us, and then Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon was presented as a enhanced version of Sun and Moon. And with how much I understand is basically unchanged in the main game, and that a lot of the new content is in the post game, it feels like there was no reason for us to get both.
You see, Marley, I'm glad you brought that up, because Sonic Forces just barely bumped that off my list. That was originally my number 3. I agree. Because this game feel like it came out way too soon. There weren't as many new changes here that really made you feel like if you played Sun and Moon, you should go play Ultra Sun and Moon.
Yeah, like I wasn't adamant about Sun and Moon when it came out. Like, you all know this. I sat in the room at the end of the Elite Four for about 5 months before I actually did anything about that, and then didn't touch the post game for another 2 months. But when Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon came out, my immediate thought was, okay, that's cool. I'm going to go back to playing Monster Hunter Stories. Because I wanted something different.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you guys, and I mean, I'll give you guys one thing that, honestly, this is you're talking to a guy. Well, I know you guys all played Pokemon since it first came out, but all the hate that Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are getting, I honestly, deepest part of me, don't think it's warranted.
Yeah.
The reason
No, I agree with that.
The reason why is because it just doesn't make sense why people are suddenly up in arms about an enhanced version of the 7th gen games when they've been doing it for about four of those generations. They've done it.
Well, here's my thing, and
You know what
I
I mean?
understand, but the thing is, the only thing I'll say is I feel like the content for Ultra Sun and Moon actually would have worked a little bit better as DLC, but that's about it.
Let me finish, please.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. I totally agree with you guys. It should have waited probably another year. I honestly think it should have waited. We got it too soon.
Yeah.
But in the same sense, I really don't think that people are going saying, "Oh, it's just the same as Sun and Moon." Yeah, guess what? Emerald was the same as Ruby and Sapphire. Yellow was the same as Red and Blue. Crystal was the same as Gold and Silver, and Platinum was the same as Diamond and Pearl. But enhanced. This isn't new, guys.
Black 2, White 2.
Maybe this is a
little more different, but same level.
This is probably the first time they've done 2 versions, maybe, but this has been done, and I don't understand why people are suddenly upset about it.
I think the big thing is like the people really getting like upset about this are the people who don't understand this is a tradition for Pokemon, because they do this almost all the time. Just because they skip with 6th gen doesn't mean that this is something I don't do.
Well, I think it's also a big problem of, like, with how much Gen 7 was presented as, this is going to be a game in the Pokemon universe that is going to completely break the convention of what you know of Pokemon. And then the release schedule is very akin to the kind of schedule that you expect from Pokemon. And it just feels like it's going in the opposite direction. Like, I don't hate Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
I know.
But I find that the choice of release date and the content it offers in regards to its predecessor, disappointing.
Can I just say this?
Yeah,
Since this is also on my list, I'll just say it now. I agree with everything you all are saying, but the reason why I think it's okay game is I like to play Pokemon just for Pokemon. I've done this since Gen 1, and I like Pokemon no matter if it's the same story or what. I'll play it again over and over again until I throw up, but...
Yeah, if you want to be real here, pretty much Pokemon hasn't really changed majorly story-wise, ever. Like, it's pretty much the same deal. You're a trainer going through fighting things. It's been the same since the beginning.
Pokemon's Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon my number 9 on my Game of the Year list. So to me, while I do agree full-heartedly with the fact that we got it way too early, I also think I blame this mostly on them trying to get 8th gen on Switch quick as possible.
Yeah, and then also trying to still keep the 3DS relevant for the holiday seasons, because this was released around the exact same time as Sun and Moon were for the holiday season.
Yeah, I think it was like exactly a year, if
Yeah.
I remember correctly. But
I mean, I would have preferred Pokemon Tournament updated DLC on the Wii U, but that's okay.
Yeah, and it's funny, we're the minority thinking that now.
Well,
and the number 2 on my disappointing list.
Marlon, I was so sad. I just saw an article yesterday saying the Pokemon Tournament DX has already eclipsed the Wii U's sales already.
That didn't take long at all. Less than a year.
Didn't take long at all, unfortunately. But it just bothers me that people are suddenly upset about something they've done for years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to move on to the next one from here. But I agree. I think the subtitle Pokemon Ultra Soon, it's actually a very fitting joke. A lot of the hatred it does get, yeah, it's a little overblown, but like you, Marley, I can see why there's some problems here. Because like I said, this was originally on my disappointing list. only just because I felt like it was a little too soon for what it changed. But that's about it.
But Lester, there was something else that I know for sure, because you had a long paragraph about this. What upset you about the game? And I know what it is that upset you about the game.
Oh god, yeah, don't even get me started about the whole Ultra Worm Space thing, because, oh man, how they introduce it is stupid. I hate how they introduce it at first. Don't give me an option to turn off the motion controls if, one, you can't do it on your first run through Ultra Space. That's stupid. Just give me the option right away. And two, don't bury it in the Game Freak building in one of the other previous islands. That just feels weird. Let me just literally pause the game and go to options, turn gyro off. Don't make me backtrack and talk to a random dude that doesn't exist yet. It's weird. It makes no sense. They really want you using motion.
I wanted you.
That's a rant for another day by the sound of things.
Yeah.
I wanted you to bring this up because it was one thing that I know you were upset about, and I wanted you to get it off your chest.
It just makes no sense. Like, I get you want to use my motion control in the 3DS, but this is a weird way to bury the option to turn it off. I actually would have been better if they didn't have the option to turn it off. It's like, all right, well, I guess this is just one of those forced things. Get used to it. No, give me the option all the way back in Island 2, and he doesn't appear until you do it the first time? Why?
Hey.
But, me and Amber are going to try to finish Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon soon, hopefully. Well, no, we say soon. Next couple months to year.
Hey, it took me a full year to go through Sun, so I don't blame you. I literally got to Island 2 and put it down for 10 months. So, okay. I can
Amber,
feel your pain.
You want to talk about your disappointing game of the year?
You want me to go next?
Yeah.
Okay. I've only got 2 of them. I don't have 3.
Okay.
Surprise, right?
That's fine. You can go now then when we get to number 1. Then we just skip.
Okay. My number 2 is Resident Evil Revelations on Switch. I haven't played the second game, but I have played the first game. Oh boy, where to start?
Oh god, it was one of those ports, huh?
Well, the port isn't bad. I'm glad they ported it, but like main game wise, the storyline and everything's fine. It's just the problem I have with it, and this is the problem I have with it when I played it on PS3. The fucking difficulty at the end for the final boss is it shouldn't even be there.
They still haven't fixed that? Wow.
No.
Difficulty spike, so that's pretty much...
I mean, if you want me to go into detail, the boss pretty much is one of those ones where it's like, okay, I knew this was coming, I knew who it was and all this, but all of a sudden, it gets weird. I mean, that's not unusual to say for Resident Evil, but it gets really weird because you have to fight 2 of them at once. And you got one weapon. And if you don't have the best weapon on you, you're not beating that boss.
I don't think you have beaten that boss.
I still, to this day, have not beaten that boss because of that.
Jeez.
But without going into a rant here, that's basically why I'm mad at Resident Evil Revelations. Not that the port is bad, and if you want to play the port, that's fine. But just be prepared for that boss, is all I'm saying.
By the way, Resident Evil Revelations... It's a good port on the Switch because they added in motion control. They didn't need to.
And how does that even work though on that one? Like, is it any good?
You got your 2 Joy-Cons, and pretend you're reloading a gun. It'll reload the gun, and I think it has gyroscopic aiming too.
Yeah, see, that's the one I was really curious about.
And
take that PlayStation VR.
If you take your Joy-Cons and act like you're knifing, it'll take out the knife and knife.
Oh, that's a nice touch.
Yeah, that actually sounds really
you know
interesting.
what I mean? I didn't mean to sound like that.
Yeah.
Activate rage quit.
It's actually really good. So, if you have a Switch and you haven't ever played Resident Evil Revelation 1, besides the mad difficulty spike at the end.
It's not just at the end either. There's a couple parts in the middle and at the beginning too where it takes that turn and you're like, what the fuck? Why are you doing this on this game?
Okay, well, it's a good port for what the game is, I guess I should say. I know they released Revelations on Xbox One and PS4 also, so...
Yeah, like that's where I have my copy of Revelations on the Xbox One, because they've ported this game a couple times.
Okay. All right, so you want me to tell me? I've only got one disappointing on my list. And wait, we're going in circle, right?
Yeah, so you just go now, and then I guess we just skip you for the rest of the disappointing list.
Yeah,
Share
just
with the class.
because I've only got one that I can think of. That's Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to hear this one come up in this discussion.
I've been a big fan of Mass Effect since it first came out, and mostly I love the game because of the character building you can make a character in, and this game is a technical mess. I can definitely tell this was a rushed project. The facial animations look awful.
Like Tekken FMV.
I think it's worse from what I've heard.
Don't look at
How's it impossible?
if you go look at videos of it, it's just.
I've seen some of these videos, and I agree. They're, oh my god. Some of these look like just failed births. To say it bluntly, it looks terrible.
It's funny that you say that, Matt, because every picture I've seen regarding Mass Effect Andromeda just always has people with a stink face expression on their face. And I'm like, are people deliberately just only screenshotting that expression, or is this a sign?
No, it's a sign. It has a lot of it. But this is the beginning of the year of how bad EA screwed up this year. So
yeah. Let's just say 2017 was not the year.
No,
not the year at all for EA.
They started the year off with a rushed game of the Mass Effect series, and that kind of makes me upset. So
they dropped this game quick,
this is
too.
the guy that bought the deluxe copy, too, and I felt really horrible I did. Ugh.
I mean,
oh dear.
He's not here for this discussion because he didn't really have too many games to put on a list, but I know if we did this with our friend Jared would also been chiming in saying it would have been Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite for a lot of the same reasons.
Oh yeah, that was another thing I was thinking of too. I didn't even play the game because I was.
I'm just upset about the mentality they took with the pop figures.
Yeah,
I've heard the figures were also kind of bad.
Sigma in with Ultron. I don't care about the Avengers movie. That's probably a reskin of another Thor. I don't give a. I just want my Monster Hunter pops.
But going back to Andromeda, they dropped that game quick, too. Like, EA was only one to support that for a few months, no DLC, and now it's done. What's out there is out there.
And plus, from what I haven't even played too much of it, but the story I heard was terrible, too, so.
I heard it was one of the weakest.
That's very disappointing. That's very, very disappointing. That's pretty much that was the only game I had on my list for disappointing game of the year, so.
Okay. So I guess I'll move on to my number 2 next. And this one is actually a piece of DLC in particular, but it's a full-fledged game, so I can get away with saying this. Friends to the End, a piece of DLC for Shantae, Half Genie Hero. Can I just say, first starting out, way forward, I love the Shantae series. Give me more. I love that girl. But what happened? Just what happened with Friends to the End? I'm going to start by talking about the good things about this DLC. You get to play as Sky, Bolo, and Roddy Tops. All of them play pretty nice. They all have their nice, unique abilities, and it's fun to play through those levels. Then you get to the final world in the game, and holy crap. Amber, you were talking before about the Revelations difficulty spike. Imagine that, but instead it's ramped up by like 110%.
I'm out.
Ridiculous. The ending is filled with so much do or die situations, so much trial and error. It's like I just went from playing the normal version of Shantae to Kaizo Shantae. It made no sense. I don't know way forward for doing this kind of stuff. I died so much at the very end. When I streamed this game, you can look at my stream, like almost the last third of it was just World 6. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
And there's also some other problems I have too, like the level up system. I find it unique and cool, but you can lose levels in this game. It's the only game I know of, or at least I've played, that you can literally lose your experience points. And that's bad because, again, World 6 hits you like a truck on the freeway during rush hour. So you get slaughtered by the end, and my Roddy Tops, which was my strongest character, became my weakest character by the time I got to the final boss, and it made the fight so much harder. It was ridiculous to think about. There's a lot of great potential here, but that ending killed it. It was one of those things I was really liking going into it, but that ending, it it makes me so sad because I really like this idea, but the execution, I feel like, especially towards the end, kind of started to fall apart.
Yeah.
And one last thing to add with it is 100% wise, there's literally no point. I won't give it too much credit because it's DLC, but the dream squids in the game, there's 3 per world, like 3 per like area, I should say, and they don't do anything. The only purpose of these dream squids are for the 100% screenshot ending. At least with the main game Half Genie Hero, you had your upgrades, and then with the Pirate Queen's Quest DLC, you also had upgrades for Risky you can get. But the dream squids are just there for the screenshot, so not as much incentive this time. But
damn it, Shantae, why did you turn into Croc?
I don't understand what happened. Like they went down that road.
Don't tell Jared that, Marley.
They went down that road for some reason. Like, hey, it's fun, but hang on, difficulty slider, I broke it. It's off the charts. Yeah. Why? Yeah. That's why I find this kind of disappointing. It's a lot of fun. I feel like I will go back to this at some point, but not for a while. Wait for a sale on this piece of DLC.
You know what most people tell you? Get good.
And you know what I'll tell them? Okay, put in Kaizo Mario World and you tell me to get good. Without save states. That will be the ending of this game for your first playthrough.
Yep.
So that was my number 2.
Granddad 7.
Alright, so what's your next one, Marley?
Oh, jeez. It's hard to say because, like, I was thinking of going in one direction for it, and I feel like I can probably narrow it down more. I think number 2 on my disappointing, it doesn't really count as a game that came out this year because it's a DLC expansion to something that's already come out before.
Hey, mine was too.
It has concretely disappointed me more than I can possibly believe. Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus.
On the Switch?
Is the first video game I have ever returned first day on purchase.
Oh, wow.
Okay, you guys all know, when I did the race of Binding of Isaac with Jarrett and Weka, I love that game. I still go back and play it. Original Binding of Isaac has so much charm to it, the fact that it's like the hand-drawn art style, sort of comic-y, it's got that sick and twisted like aesthetic to it. There's nuances to Zelda throughout the whole thing. Like the item shop music is the Zelda 1 dungeon music. It is. I have mashed them up on my channel. Go look at that. Shameless plug. But then when they made Binding of Isaac Rebirth, they changed it to a pixel art style, and then Afterbirth is basically the expansion of every DLC that's on the PC version, and then Plus adds in everything else. Problem is, first and foremost, getting Rebirth without any of the DLC is cheaper than getting regular Binding of Isaac, and getting Afterbirth Plus is more expensive than getting everything that the expansions offer on Steam. And to top it all off, it's lost all of its charm because it means the cutscenes are so janky because all of the smoothness that was with it is gone for the sake of a more stylized, pixelated art style. And while I did appreciate that it was packaged with a manual that looked like the Zelda 1 manual, page by page referenced, everything else about the game's charm was dead. And I just, after playing it for 2 hours, I'm like, I'm really enjoying this, but I don't think I really can justify having paid $68 for it.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
And that's the thing. In other places, they were selling it for $80.
Oh my gosh. I forgot. Australia. Let's put people. Australia, video games cost more down there.
Yeah.
So I want you guys to realize that.
And especially because when you buy the port of this game on console, if you're buying the physical version, that's also marked up more too because of the price of making it physically.
I can understand why you didn't like that, Marley. I'm sorry.
It was a real shame because I grew really attached to the original game, and then playing that, I'm like, it's going to be this, but at 11, and it maybe made it to 5. And that was for the first hour, and then it went down to 4 because I'm just... Everything new they added was great, but it took away from everything that made it what it was.
This is the
And
common
it was a real
complaint.
shame because it's been like that since Rebirth came out. 3 years after the original game was released. And it's just been having more stuff added and added and added. And like I've seen people do reviews. Like Some Call Me Johnny did a review of Rebirth and Afterbirth. And he had very positive reception. But I played the original. And the second Zelda game I ever played was Zelda 1. So to me, I am very attached to the original Binding of Isaac, and I don't like what they did to change it. And considering the game was delayed as well, I was not in a good mood.
Yeah, get that.
So yeah, that's all I have to say on that. Amber?
I was going to say, like, before we move on, I will agree, because I heard a lot of people complain about the Afterbirth Plus DLC in particular for this one, because I've heard a lot of people say the stuff they added with Afterbirth Plus wasn't really as worth it compared to normal Afterbirth and even normal Rebirth, because I heard some people say it kind of broke the game.
It's got more voice clips.
It's sad when that remastered version just doesn't do it. That's all we'll have to add to that, so... What's your next one on the list, Amber?
Alright, my number one disappointing game for this year was Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. Surprise, surprise. I understand it's a mobile game, and yes, it's going to be easy to play, and, it's a straight-up kids game in a way, because it's nothing but cute animals that you do errands for, and that's the game. That's all you do.
But Tom Nook wants your real money.
Yes. The fucking leaf tickets drive me nuts because you have to have a leaf ticket to do anything. You take a step, it costs you a leaf ticket, it feels like. And those things aren't cheap.
No.
The thing that bugged me the most about it, though, was the limited storage that you have in the game. Like I said, you have to do stuff for different animals within the game, and they give you a lot of items as rewards. Those rewards take up your storage, so you can't do more stuff unless you use more money or leaf tickets to get more storage space. I played it last night a little bit. I spent $25 last night playing this game. Alone, last night. Altogether, I probably spent over $50 on this game so far.
Wow. And you haven't even gotten that much done yet.
No, I'm still in the very beginning of the game. So it scares me to think how many people have played this game and got up a lot farther than I have.
Tom Nook has gone from wanting bells to wanting cash.
Yeah,
But-
from bills to bucks, and I don't like this change.
Other than that, it's not a bad game if you can afford to play it that much, if you're rich or something. But I'm not rich, and I'm not playing the game anymore, so
Even
that's all I
that,
gotta say on
I from what I've heard if you just don't go the pay route at all and you just play this as a free mobile game, it's obnoxious with the waiting times. I heard it could take up to like 48 hours, something like that, to get stuff done. It's obnoxious.
Oh, okay, well, I'll give you an example. I had the builder build a new tent for me last night. It was going to take 2 real life days to get that tent built. And it was a small tent. It was a 1-room tent.
Yeah, and if you want that done faster, you do have to pay real money to get a ticket to get that sped up. And that doesn't even guarantee it to be
You know
done
how
quick.
many tickets that was going to cost me? 180 tickets.
God, that's terrible.
And how much is it for, like, what's the what is the ticket usually? Like,
If you want to get the cheapest ticket, which is 20 tickets, it'll cost you $1.
okay,
20 tickets go by in a minute, though.
I kind of figured.
That is
So-
That
ridiculous.
sounds like Fire Emblem a little bit. Well, the thing is with Fire Emblem Heroes, it's just that's all. You want to talk about gambling in games? Fire Emblem Heroes does that, where you have to spend 5 orbs to get a chance to roll to get a certain hero.
But at least with that, it's not as bad as this, only because you can play the game at that point. Here it's a pace breaker if you can't buy a ticket.
And
I mean, don't
everyone
get me
who
wrong.
keeps not getting the hero, we keep telling them, you haven't got the character you want yet. Don't keep putting your money into it.
Basically.
Don't do it.
I know.
Like,
I don't get me wrong. I like Fire Emblem Heroes. I play it every day, and most of the time I get my orbs. Just doing daily challenges and stuff like that. But I have spent a $10 $10 like 20 orb package one time because I got so upset because they have like special heroes that are like Christmas themed. I'm like, ugh. The whole time of the year it does this to me.
I have not been forgiven for having a lot of the Easter characters.
Don't get me
I have not been forgiven for that. Well, I was stupidly lucky.
I wouldn't say it's disappointing. It's just, I guess in a way, disappointing of me because I'm so weak.
Well, I will say that I will.
Amber, don't let him play Pocket Camp then.
Yeah.
He don't even like it, thank God.
Well, no, I haven't installed it yet.
Give me your phone. Give me your phone.
My phone.
I'm going to put parental locks on it.
With a completely unrelated topic for a second, but speaking about free-to-play games that you can put cash into, I think the best example of all of them that has done it right was Kirby Team Clash Deluxe. Because you put $30 in, you maxed out on apples, and then you're done.
Yeah.
You cannot actually put more money into it.
But there was a Pokemon Rumble game that was exactly like that, too.
Yeah. There are a lot of games like that have done this, and it's really good. But like to get us back on track a little bit to move on, it's basically where if it's a pay-to-win kind of strategy where it's either you pay money to get things done faster, not right away, but just faster, and then if you don't do that, you're waiting around a couple days to do something. This is why I've been hearing most people lose their interest in Pocket Camp, because they like a mobile game where they can pick up, play for a few minutes, and then stop. But they can't do that with Pocket Camp as much because there's so much wait times for every single thing. It just pushes them away.
This is a delightful lead into my number one.
Well, I was one to ask. I know I just said I only had one disappointing, but I just thought of something. Can I have a disappointing game that I was so disappointed in I didn't even bother buying it?
There's another one you want to have on your list. You can always have that, yes. So I guess this is a good segue into your next one.
Yeah, I'm done with Pocket Camp. Okay, in fact, I'm going to go follow it right now.
Where's my money back? Top Nook?
Nintendo!
Top Nook!
Anyways.
This game I was kind of excited for because, I'm a big fan of this franchise, and I was kind of, really excited that the game was going to have something that the other game didn't have. And then something happened, and I just said, no more. I'm not even bother buying it now. Lester, Marley, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's a Star Wars game.
Yeah, I can already imagine.
Star Wars Battlefront 2, EA, please. Don't do this anymore, please.
The only game to piss off Disney.
The Last Jedi from his sleep.
The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi from his sleep.
The only game to piss off one of the most popular monopolized companies, Disney. When they have to get involved, you know you did something wrong.
No, Disney's coming for you. Run.
Yeah, I know. I
was excited for Star Wars Battlefront 2 because they announced that, oh, hey, we're going to have a single-player campaign because that's what fans wanted that we didn't have in the first game. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I think I might pick this game up. And then I heard about the microtransaction fiasco with the loot box system, and I was just like, don't get me started. I'm gonna get away from that sinking ship.
And it's good you did, because it got worse over time.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much what happened is, we talked about pay to win. This game was literally pay to win, but you paid $60 to even pay to win. Before you paid to win, I'm sorry. Pretty much the progression system in the multiplayer, they gave you credits to give you boxes that give you a chance to get like really good stuff, and that makes it really unfair to people who just spend money to get that powerful stuff by just sheer luck, and it just ruins the whole entire experience. And I just said, I'm not going to support that kind of behavior, especially in a game that I'm already spending $60 for. And it was so bad, the game went down to I think $30 after the first weekend.
Oh, not just that, but its review score was terrible.
No,
it wasn't. When it first came out from Metacritic, it was pretty bad.
I'll put Metacritic had, I think, an 80 on critics, a 0.9 on users.
Yeah, that's
That
what I'm
tells
talking about. That's a pretty big difference. It shows how many people were pissed. So much to a point where EA actually took out the microtransactions and saying we'll add them back in at a later date, which actually broke the game even more to think about it. Because originally, their microtransactions for the reviewers was lower, so they can still show off all the characters. But the problem is, they would take hours upon hours upon hours of grinding just to earn the character, or you can hope to get one in a loot box.
Yeah.
Now, without the microtransactions, all you have is those hours of grinding. And even after, you can play for 40 hours to unlock one of the more exclusive characters to the Star Wars series, and then you still have to grind that character up. So you can play for 40 hours to grind for another 20.
They reduced the cost of the in-game currency for the heroes by 75%. Thing is, though, they also reduced the amount you earn after every battle by 75% too.
Yeah, it was just a whole big mess.
Changed.
It was a whole big mess. And without the microtransactions, they actually made it worse.
Nothing changed. But yeah, I just thought about that when we were just recording this. I was like, somebody has to talk about that. So I'll be that person.
Alright, so that's all you have for that one?
That's all I have left on the disappointment.
Alright, because
Now
now
go
it's
to
time...
last, Lester. Is your number one the bug? Sonic Forces as well.
Sonic Force my number 3, now it's number 1. No, my number 1 actually is... Well, if you've been following me on social media and seeing my streams, you'll know what it is. The game that's my number 1 disappointing of the year is Mario & Luigi Superstar Sagas plus Bowser's Minions. I want to go ahead and start out by saying I love Superstar Saga, and the remake is really good. Like, they changed a lot of good things to the game that I'm in favor for. The easy mode makes it a lot, easier to get into for a first playthrough. The quick saving is a lot better for on-the-go stuff, and they made it a lot easier to get the bro moves all leveled up. So Superstar's great. Bowser's Minions, that can go just in a fire pit. Oh my god, what is this mode? Bowser's Minions is the reason why this is on my list, because when they showed this at E3 for the first time, I looked interested because this looked like an easier version of an RTS-style game to get into, like a Fire Emblem. A little easier to get into, that's good. Maybe I can try this kind of thing. Problem is, Bowser's Minions is like 90% automated. Bowls pretty much play themselves. The only thing you can really do is you can hit the A button to activate one of your special attacks if your troops decide to do that, because you can't control that. Or you can use one of your character's moves to just do a couple different things. Like, you have blocking commands, you can do things like lightning and call for backup, but the CPU usage for most of those things are so high, you're only going to be using things that are very low in points, which is pretty much just deny spam the entire time. Because you only get back about 3 CP at the end of every round. And when you have abilities like lightning that take 8, when your max is 10, it's 7, so it's still ridiculous, you don't use them. And with it being so automated, it's basically luck-based if you're going to win the battle. I've had plenty of battles where I lost, and I just jumped back into them, the exact same loadout, exact same teammates, everything, and then I won. Nothing changed, it's just I got better luck with what my squad was doing and what the other ones were not doing. It's all luck-based, and they encourage you to grind because of that. They want you to beat this game if you're over-leveled because of how luck-based it is. This is the only game this year that legitimately made me mad playing it. I got frustrated with the Friends of the End DLC because of that difficulty spike, but Bowser's Minions legitimately made me upset. Because how am I winning this battle when I literally did nothing different? It's moments like that frustrated me.
Moral of the story is, don't play that mode, just play the remake.
Pretty much. Superstar is great, but Bowser's Minions is just the biggest example of a missed opportunity. Because when they show this mode, and when you see someone playing it, it looks really fun and really intuitive. What it really comes down to is, do you want to press the A button every 5 seconds? And that's it? Because there's not much interaction. Play this mode for a little bit, maybe get past the first world in it, just to see if this is for you, and if it's not, yeah, just don't play it anymore. Because you get some extra story with Bowser's Minions, and that's the only reason why I wanted to complete it. Because I wanted to see the extra story, because I like the lore in the Mario Luigi series, but it just didn't feel worth it at the end. Not with all the hardships I went through.
That's sad because it could have been a good thing.
It really could have. It had so much potential. Looked great, but holy crap, there is so much wrong with this mode that didn't need to be wrong. Why is it just so automated luck-based? Those are my two big things. Take those out, it'll be fine. But no, that's how it is. So that's why that's my most disappointing game of the year.
Marley, you got another one?
Well, on the topic of missed opportunity, this one, I'm just going to be completely blunt. Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood, for one reason and one reason only. If the game isn't free to play by this point, it's failed, and I have no interest in this entry in the Final Fantasy series. How? I saw so much publicity going into Final Fantasy XIV, and I was optimistic about trying out a Final Fantasy MMO. After all, I had recently started playing Final Fantasy Explorers, which I was loving because it basically felt like Kingdom Hearts fused with Monster Hunter. Like, how can you go wrong? How can you go wrong?
Yeah.
But playing it, the free-to-play is so limited that it is literally, you could do a bundle deal to get your first couple of months with all of the DLC together, and it would all cost the price of the base game. But anyone you know who needs to play it as well, even if they're in the same house, needs to buy a physical copy at the same amount, and then the subscription kicks in right after that. And the subscription is larger than that initial amount you would pay for that entire bundle deal that they were doing for the release, which is also bigger than the base game itself.
Holy cow.
I have been playing Rift with my girlfriend. I've been playing Rift with my girlfriend for 5 years, and the only times we have ever put money towards it were a conscious decision we made ourselves, and were never something we were forced into. I could not play the game for a week without feeling restricted on the free-to-play demo limitations for people who are interested without committing to a bundle purchase. And even that was so underwhelming that to know that you need to pay to get everything else, I would rather play Final Fantasy Explorers.
That's a pretty big difference
or just
right
keep
there.
playing Rift. Like, it is the biggest misstep I think Square has ever made. Like, I know people will rant about, oh, you know, this has got way too many sequels, or this didn't need a prequel, or this, that, and the other. No, Final Fantasy XIV should never have been pay to play. I mean, you've had to release the game, you had to re-release the game with the new Reign release, and then you went with Stormblood. Like, you've tried to basically have this game up 3 times, and you've lost me.
I've never liked the idea, and this is just me, I've never liked the idea of having to pay for a game. And I know a lot of PC players that are, that they grew up this way, in a way, with World of Warcraft, but I don't like the idea of having to pay $60 per game and then having to pay $15 every month afterwards.
Yeah. I feel like the best thing to get into something like this...
You should be getting the whole thing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I feel like the best thing is you pay either a flat fee to get into it, or it's going to be a free-to-play thing in general. Like, you can get it for free, but you have, like, a small fee just to actually fund the servers. Like, if it was even just $5 a month, and that's all you ever paid. You never pay for the game, that'd even be better. Because $60 and then that on top of fee each month of $15, that's a lot to ask for.
Oh,
yeah.
let's just I don't know if this is true because I haven't played it. So, let's say you got Final Fantasy XIV for the PS4, okay? You paid $60 for it, and not only that, you have to pay $10 for PS Plus, and then you have $15 to pay for the online subscription fee.
If that's how it worked,
stupid.
I don't think that's how they do it, because I
that
think
much.
they bypass PS Plus because of that subscription price.
Okay,
But
I didn't know if
it's
that
still
was
ridiculous to think about.
They don't factor in the plus for that, which is
okay. Thank goodness.
better, but not good.
Yeah.
Like, for goodness sake, if I wanted to play an MMO, I have plenty of options that are free or that I've only had to pay for once. And
I know Kevin Davis.
And RuneScape's in there, for goodness sake.
Yeah, I know Kevin Davis loved Guild Wars because Guild
Oh,
Wars
yeah.
was kind of pretty much like free, and then you paid you paid $60 and you never had to pay a subscription fee.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's
that's
better.
how it should be. I think that's how it was. It's been years since we've talked about that since Guild Wars 2 came out, but
Yeah.
But I completely agree with you, Mark. I honestly do. That's why I was never interested in the game to begin with. It's not, and I know a lot of people are probably been like, "Well, you're missing out on something." I just said, I've got plenty of other games to play. Tell me why I should be investing my time in this and paying all the time.
I mean, that's why I can't get into games like WoW as well, because WoW has the same problem. It's really just, you gotta be willing to really make that kind of extra commitment to pay for the product and then for a subscription, and that's not for everyone. So I agree. I feel like that, especially for the free version, that free version is just basically a glorified demo because there's barely anything you can do in it. So I almost feel like that's honestly unnecessary.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you. That's stupid.
So I
On
think
to happier
that's
things.
yeah, I think that's it for all our disappointing games. So now, that was actually a long segment, but at this point I feel we're going to breeze through things a little more, because now we're done with the negatives. So with positives, a lot more to talk about, but also space out. So let's move on to the surprising game of the year. So this is a list, just like disappointing, could be 3 or less, that this is something we just didn't expect to be as good as it was. It just surprised us, as the name implies. So to start off, my number 3 for surprising game of the year is Puyo Puyo Tetris. I would not think this crossover would be as fun as it was.
I was thinking about that too, but I didn't put it on there. Good choice, Lester.
The multiplayer works with the demo. That's actually really amazing.
Yeah, the demo of this is really good. It's actually, honestly, if you don't have the money for Puyo Puyo Tetris, at least download the demo, because the demo itself lets you play the game in a way that I play it anyways, where I just literally turn it on and just play one of the puzzle modes. That's it. So even if you can't buy it, at least try the demo. It's surprisingly fun to play a match where you can flip-flop between 2 different modes at the same time, or even just play them interchangeably, where you put down a Puyo piece and then a Tetris piece immediately afterwards. This is a lot more fun than I thought it would be. And it has a story, too, and I haven't even touched that yet. A puzzle game with a story I'm actually interested to see.
The story of Puyo Puyo is really funny, and I love it.
I heard the translation of this was really good. I'm glad we finally got here in the States, because this was in Japan for a couple years, and I was almost half tempted one year to import it on the Xbox One, since that was the only system it was on at the time, but now it's available on like the PS4 and the Switch, and I find this is a great Switch game. This is perfect for portable. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You can also get on PS4, and I think you can't get on Xbox One, can you?
Well, like I said, I know it's released in Japan, but I don't think it's here on Xbox One.
Well, it's on PS4. I know that much.
Yeah,
for sure.
PS4 and Switch.
So, yeah, I think if you don't have to have just a Switch, you can have PS4 and enjoy it too.
Yeah, but yeah, this is a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed my time with this game. But yeah, that's my number 3.
That's a good thing. I was like, I was debating on putting that on there, and I'm glad you put it on there now. So.
All right, so what's your third game on your list, Marley?
That's actually a tricky one. I'm trying really hard to think of it now, and I'm pulling up blanks. I kind of want to shoehorn it onto the others so I can think of it properly.
Well, we can skip you for now if you can't think of that. Yeah.
Yeah, gone brain dead.
All right, you got one, Amber?
Yeah. Again, I only have 2 on this list, so I don't have a third. So I'll go ahead and say my second one. This one actually kind of surprised me because I liked the series, but I wasn't expecting a lot of this one. My third one my second one is The Walking Dead, A New Frontier, which is the 3rd entry into the Walking Dead series. But I got surprised by it because I knew it was going to continue with the original story from the first 2 games, but it threw me for a loop because they added a bunch of things that wasn't in the first 2, like some new characters that had a lot of plot development where the original characters didn't have as much in this game. And one thing that they did for this one is they've always had different choice endings for the games, but this one had 4, while the other one had 2. So that surprised me that they added 2 extra endings to this one. And like I said, the characters have a lot of plot development when it comes to the new characters. The only thing I didn't like about it is they're still doing the whole 5 episodes thing for the game instead of putting it as a full game at first. You have to wait in between episodes to find out what happens next.
Yeah, that's Telltale for you.
But they've always done that with their games. But I like that game, and I'm glad they added a third entry, but I wasn't really expecting too much out of it because I kind of get a little sick of the original story at times. But that's my number 2 right there.
All right. Well, Matt, what's next?
I had a game on my surprising list, but I'm gonna actually replace it with something else because this game is a major title on Amber's list, and so I'm gonna replace that one with The Mummy Demastered.
Oh, okay. I've been hearing mixed things about this. So I want to hear your take.
The Mummy Demastered is a really good. It's made by WayForward, so you know you're getting a good game.
Matt, number 2 on my disappointing list.
Okay, never mind. But
for the most part,
it was surprising because they just released a new Mummy movie this year, and it was terrible. It was awful. But WayForward, what they did was they took the franchise and made a Contra type game, a Contra / Metro Super Metroid type game, where you have all these power ups and you can go through like a Metroidvania map, and if you die, your corpse lays there on the ground and you lose all your power-ups, but you spawn as a new person, and then if you go back to the spot where you died at and defeat it, you get all your power-ups back.
The Dark Souls Demastered.
But
pretty much.
But it's really neat and I like it. It's very Metroidvania, and you guys know how much I like that genre. So it was really surprising that WayForward made a really good game based off of a really crappy movie. So, I if you guys see it on the eShop, I think, or eShop or PS4 store.
Yeah, it's like on everything right now.
I think it's on everything. But if you guys see it for like $15, I definitely wholeheartedly say give it a go. It's a really good game. If you like Contra, if you like Metroid, you'll like this game.
Okay.
Fantastic. Now, I think the biggest problem is the game I had in mind for Rising. I'm having trouble remembering if it came out in December of last year or January of this year.
I guess it's good to do a quick search.
Go ahead and just say what the game is.
So, The Last Guardian.
That came out in December last year.
God damn it, because it was so good.
But no, go ahead and talk about it.
I was about to say, I think we could put it in here, because I think we also got some content this year.
Yeah, because like that's the problem I keep having is I think the game, but when we played it right and when we bought it rather than when it came out.
Yeah.
So
same.
Yeah, because that was I think the first game that we actually finished up on the PlayStation in the new year. So that was really fresh in my mind. But then I'm like, but did we get it before the new year ticked over?
Oh well, don't worry. You can talk about it. The VR version released this year. It counts.
There we go. It counts. Last Guardian is beautiful. The Trico reminds me of my dog Tiz because he constantly looks at you with this dopey, upset, guilt-ridden face, and he likes to jump around and not listen to you. And it is incredibly accurate, and I love how the AI is very dog. It is beautiful, and any criticism you could have about the AI of that character is completely irrelevant because it's accurate. And that's what makes it so beautiful, is that there's so, like, the interaction just builds as you go, and it's just so heartwarming and beautiful, and then people are like, oh yeah, it's a Shadow of the Colossus spin-off, and I'm like, what? Okay, cool, but it's a giant dog thing with wings, so I don't care.
Amber actually got me that game for my birthday this year, so I haven't played it yet, but I want to play it. So
dog thing with wings. He's adorable. You've seen photos of Tiz. You will look at him. You will look at Trico standing on a pillar, looking at your character, and you'll just be like, "That's not a giant beast. That's just a giant fluffy Jack Russell with wings."
Yeah, basically.
That's exactly. Yeah. There we go. VR version came out this year. It counts.
Yeah, there you go. It's a free update too to the base game. Thank God. It's not like Skyrim VR where it's a full $60. But that's the please.
VR or VFR. There you go.
Hey, at least that's actually a standalone game. Skyrim is just literally the same thing. But my number 2 though for surprising game of the year, it's a little eShop download game for $5. I wasn't expecting this to be as fun as it was. Kamiko. This game is great.
Oh.
You can play through the game as 3 different characters, and they each have their own unique way of fighting because they all use different weapons. It has a lot of replay value because this game really wants you to go out your way to explore things and to find all the secrets. So they want you going back through these levels with the different characters and also trying to speedrun it because every time you beat a level, you get to see your clear time for not just a level but each segment. It's just a lot of fun. And for $5, I was not expecting to enjoy this game as much as I have. It's a great little download game for the Switch. And it was perfect when the Switch first came out because there weren't as many games on that system just yet, and this was a fun game to play for a while. So yeah, this is a fun one. I recommend you go download this. Go get it now.
The best $5 you ever spent.
Yeah, probably. Actually, this year is probably one of the best $5 purchases.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Okay. Do you have another one, Amber?
Oh, we're done already? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm already done with mine.
You're done.
My problem is anything surprising would just be, I love this game. Okay, next.
Okay, that's pretty much in your top 10, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. My number 1 is, and this is actually going to surprise you guys, Kingdom Hearts 2.8.
I'm not surprised by that. That's fair enough.
I love the Kingdom Hearts series. I've enjoyed it ever since the first game, but I tried playing Dream Drop Distance on 3DS when it first came out, and I couldn't get into it. I tried my hardest, and I'm just like, no, this isn't Kingdom Hearts to me. When 2.8 came out, Matt suggested that I try playing it again because, bigger screen to play it on for one, and it's on PlayStation 4, which means updated graphics and all that fun stuff, but because it's a re-release, they changed things. I love Dream Drop Distance now because I played it on PS4 instead of 3DS.
Wow, what a difference.
But they did change a lot of things, but one of the major changes that they changed within the game was there's no Heartless. There's these things called Dream Eaters. And that's what turned me off on the game on 3DS at first. One of the main things. But when you see them in high definition, you can't help but love those things. But another thing that I really liked about the changes on the PS4 version is they changed the mini games. There's one mini game that reminds me so much of Chain of Memories because you battle with cards instead of having the actual character there. And I like Chain of Memories. So that excited me when I got to do that.
Represent!
Well, I did too. That was the first Kingdom Hearts game I ever played.
But besides that,
finished.
It's still Kingdom Hearts. It's still, the same type of game, just on a different system and different gameplay style. That's about it.
And you love taking care of those little things when you were.
Yeah, you get to play what was Tamagotchi with the Dream Eater. So.
Oh my God, there's a Dream Eater garden. Oh man, Sega, please. Square did it. Now you can do it.
So my number 1 surprising game of the year was Cow Island Resort.
Please.
Well, actually, that both is and isn't true. Because I was actually kind of leaning a little more. Damn, I've forgotten it already. Oh, I've lost it now. Dang, I had it, and now I've lost it again. What was it? Give me 10 seconds, and if I can't think of it, we'll just keep going.
Yeah.
Oh, yep, I remember now. I've only played the demo of it, but I am really looking forward to getting into it. Blaster Master Zero.
Oh, yes. This is a good one.
You would like this, Marley.
I am pretty sure it was a week of release title for Switch.
Yes, it was like a 3DS Switch release on the week.
I remember playing it, the original on NES blind a couple of years back, and I remember just thinking, I love this meld. I love this meld of the gameplay style, because I love top-down games and I love platform games, and when they shift and they do it well, I really like that. I know it's a it's an approach that hasn't been done as much nowadays. Like I've
You
tried
can
to think
play
of any
Shovel
other games that
Knight.
really do it, and all I really think of is Contra 3 and Bomberman. So, so it's like the demo was only like 3 levels, and I loved every one of them, and I'm like, eventually, because I have a pile that is growing and growing and growing, but I will play this because it is damn good.
That third-party support they got with this one, too, is amazing. They got both Yacht Club and Way Forward on board, so you have Shantae and Shovel Knight in the same game. Oh, man, what other games can you think of that you can say this with?
Runbow?
Yeah.
This is true.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry being smart, Allie, but
Get out.
Anyways, can I tell you what my surprising game of the year was? And I think everybody knows what it was.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
You see, if I played this year, I probably could have said the same.
See, if I wasn't still finishing Awakening, I would probably consider it.
I'll put it this way: when they leaked out that there was a Mario and Rabbids crossover, I was like, okay, I can see that, but
Why?
okay,
Why?
And then they leaked out the artwork, and I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Why is Mario holding a gun?
Mario have a gun? Why is Rabbid Peach taking a selfie? What's going on? And then they showed the gameplay at E3, and I'm like, what? It's an RTS? A Mario RTS? What?
About time.
And then I was like, okay, I'm mildly Ubisoft. I will pre-order this game. And I'm really glad I did, because I played it and I was like, oh my god, this game is fun. This game is good. And you know what? The rabbits aren't as annoying.
It's funny, the XCOM developers actually came out and said that they regret not pitching this kind of idea to Nintendo, because as soon as they saw how well Mario and Rabbids played, they were like, crap, we could have done this too.
Yeah, Mario and Rabbids pretty much plays up like a kid-friendly XCOM. So it's a fun little, like a fun little RTS game. And it's not like super duper long, but I'll put it this way. I put I think I'm at World 3, I think. I haven't played too much of it, but I did love every little bit of it. I had too many other games to play.
Yeah, no, I feel.
I need to go back and finish it, but Mario and Rabbids is by far probably my most surprising game I liked this year, because I wasn't expecting something like that.
It just came out of nowhere. When we first saw the leaks, we all thought this was going to be garbage. Then we get the game, and we want more. It's a total 180.
Yeah. Ubisoft did good this year.
We just stupid people.
Yeah,
Our shelves are too small.
To wrap up our surprising list, my number 1 is ARMS.
Oh.
So, originally going into this, I had seen all the footage, and I honestly thought, wait a minute, this is just glorified Wii boxing? It did not look interesting at all. I was going to pass on this game for the longest time. Then I tried out the Global Tennis Punch, because alright, they give us a free demo. I got into Splatoon the same way, where I tried the demo, fell in love. Let me just see what happens with ARMS. And it intrigued me. I actually liked the fighting mechanics in the game. It's the only fighter I've ever played that's fully in 3D since Budokai Tenkaichi 3 on the Wii. And I like to see how this kind of gameplay style works. And I enjoyed my time with the game. It's a lot of fun. It's very unique in that regard. It's just, this is not a fighting game I'll go to all the time. I'd rather go to other fighting games first, like Pokken, Smash, Street Fighter, and such. But this one has enough charm. I find this is a great party game. With all its different modes, it's not just fighting. And it's a lot of fun because of that.
ARMS for Evo?
Hey, I think that was a thing that was talked about, so yes.
But yeah, I haven't played ARMS yet. I haven't had a chance to play it. I had too many games to play this year. But I really was interested in the character designs.
The character designs is one of the best parts about this game. There's so many weird, unique designs, and I really like a lot of them. Although, just like a lot of the community, my favorite character to play has to be Ribbon Girl, because I just like how she plays the most. I like her triple jump ability. I find it the most useful. But I like a lot of the other designs too. Like that blob character, that's so cool to look at. His arms are literally DNA strands. It's really fun. It's really fun.
What? Lester, Master Mummy.
I'm more mixed. I like his design. I just don't like how he plays. He's too heavy for me. I'm sad that this game is done getting updates at this point, but because they were all free updates and not just paid DLC, I can understand why they want to move on. Because this was not another Splatoon for Nintendo. It did well, but not well enough. So I'm sad to see the updates kind of stop, but it still was a fun time playing it. I only played this for like the first couple weeks of launch and then put it down. I need to get back to it, but from what I played, it did leave a pretty good impression.
Good. I'm glad you liked it.
So that's pretty much it for our surprising games, right? Or do we have any more to add?
That's it for me.
I think that's
I
it.
had
Yeah.
one, but I didn't want to talk about it because it's on Amber's list. I don't want to talk about it.
You'll probably just chime in around that point. So at this point, we're getting ready to actually start the real discussion, the Game of the Year talk. But before that, let's just go ahead and just talk about our honorable mentions real quick. These are games that didn't make it into our top 10, but just at least something we wanted to mention.
Can I make a request on that before you start on that, though?
Yeah.
Can I actually do mine first? Because my number 3 is going to start a whole hour topic that you're all going to chime in on. And I want to get mine out before I can't get another word in.
That's fine. So we'll start you off with your honorable mentions first, then.
I'll time you to
Okay.
15 minutes, though.
And go.
All right, you want me to go ahead now, then?
Yeah, so go ahead. You start with your honorable mentions.
All right. Before you get the pitchforks out, let me get my armor on first. My number 3 for honorable mentions is Super Mario Odyssey. I didn't get to play this game fully as of yet. The only time I got to play with it is when I was helping Matt do the volleyball game to get a moon. But why it's on my honorable mentions is because not only is it Mario, but it has a fucking reference to the original DK, and I love that.
There's so many
Plus, I started
references.
dancing along with the song when it started playing too. So y'all go at it now.
I mean, I say, like, if this is on our Game of the Year list, let's wait until we get to that category. But there's a lot to say.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's pretty high up there
Yeah.
on mine.
Well, I have to agree with like that same thing, because for me, I would want to put Breath of the Wild on my honorable mentions because I backseat gamed all of it with my girlfriend we picked it up day one, and she covered the entire map on 3 hearts within a week.
Well, Amber
So,
kind
I
of
have-
gamed on Mario Odyssey.
Backseat gaming is good, and I like, for me, that is why I love Breath of the Wild, but I cannot put it in my Game of the Year because I didn't experience it. Beyond doing the stables challenge where you need to go over the jumps,
Oh, don't get me started on that.
which, you know, when you find out you can do it easier going backwards, makes a world of difference.
Oh, good. Now
I
we got
didn't
some
know
backward
that.
long jumps in Zelda.
Yeah. Like literally, you do the route backward. You don't go for the one that's right ahead of you. You go nuts to that. There are ones over there, and there's that third one that is normally the 7th one that screws me up 2/3 of the way through everything. I'm doing that one third, so I'm going to go this way, do that backwards. Boom, done. 10 seconds to spare. Okay, give me my armor,
That
please.
was Marley. That was literally the last thing I did in the game. After, like, literally the last thing I did in the game.
Yeah.
That little stupid style game. I don't like that one.
Again,
That's-
I'm going to hold my thoughts next. Again, I feel like this is going to be on someone's Game of the Year's list
It
as
is.
well. So,
Probably yours.
yeah, so I'm going to leave those talking points to that moment. So,
This is-
at this point, the best thing to do with honorable mentions is each one of us just kind of name them real quick and just say a quick thing, because these are quick little mentions. It's not like a full-blown thing like
Yeah.
our normal lists.
All right, so Lester, why don't you go first?
Well, I'm going to leave mine for last because I'm just going to go through all my games in like a quick summary. Mine's going to be pretty short.
Well, let me do
I'm
mine.
gonna do the same thing too. So,
Let me go ahead and mention my second one then, because it's the last one I have.
Yeah.
The second one was Persona 5. I haven't got to play it yet, but it's fucking Persona, and I love the series, so I'm going to play it eventually.
I
But-
think that's the next game you said you were gonna play.
I was surprised with this one a little bit because the rating, everybody gave it a 9 out of 10. So you know it's a good game when everybody gives it a 9 out of 10.
It was one of those games nominated for Game of the Year, so it was high up there
Yeah,
in people's
as
lists.
long as it was, nominated. It won Best RPG at the Game Awards. So
But Persona 5 is basically the original Persona game The only thing I will say about it is it looks more cartoony than the others do. So I'm looking forward to that.
Plus, little Morgana waking you up every morning.
Oh, don't mention the cat.
All right, Marley, I guess you can go if you want. Mine's just.
Yeah,
Or
I'm
do you want me
trying
to
to
go?
think because in terms of honorable mentions, and this is what I'm actually quite embarrassed about. The other one is Super Bomberman R because I haven't had enough time to
No.
actually get through the story
Marley,
yet,
I have
and
to agree with
I
that.
absolutely love it. Like when I found out for starters, I had a reversible cover with the original Bomberman in it. I was just like, "Hello."
Wait, it does?
Great start.
It
Yeah,
does?
It does.
How did I not
go
notice
look at
that?
it. Go get
Reversible
it
cover
right now.
with
Look at it.
NES Bomberman, the 8 cover inside. Yeah.
Also, not only that, Marley, it's getting constant free updates from Konami, and that's one thing I really like about it too.
Considering it was a dying franchise that has been attempted to be resurrected by countless companies, Ubisoft a lot in the last decade, actually, I'm actually really glad that they went back to Bomberman and stopped it from getting, caught in the quicksand. It's the kind of franchise you are worried is going to die. Like, I'm really happy an actual console
that was
Bomberman
probably
game came out, because the last one that we got that was new, I'm pretty sure was, dare I say, it would have been Bomberman 2 on DS.
Actually, it was an
Bomberman
XBLA
Live
game.
on Xbox.
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah,
that. I'll
that was-
check.
It would have probably been Bomberman Live on Xbox, actually, because everything else has usually been a DSiWare or DS port.
Yeah.
And even then,
I have to
Ubisoft
say-
helped with those ones as well.
Yeah, the last game was Bomberman Live Battlefest, and that was an XBLA game.
Yeah.
I have to say that I know a lot of people were shitting on Konami past couple years, but I really do think Konami kind of redeemed themselves in a way a little bit with Bomberman R. I like the fact that they were trying with Bomberman, trying to get, that they at least knew that fans wanted the new Bomberman game, and not only that, it was a good Bomberman game. Yeah, sure, it wasn't up to snuff when the Switch first came out, but they updated it, and now it's really good.
And I like that they paid very close attention to little things here and there that have been recurring things through the different games. Like the Super Bomberman series had countless times the colored Bomberman coming in and having different personalities, and that continued through the DS era, which is where it kind of started to falter. And then those personalities came back with Bomberman R. Just even in that opening cutscene, I'm just like, yay! This makes
not
me
only
happy.
that,
Doesn't even matter that I haven't played Bomberman Land Touch. I still recognize the personalities.
even though that the fact I mentioned that they kept giving the free updates. Not only that, Konami was, using a bunch of characters from their other franchises as Bomberman.
Yeah. Before you say any more, I'm actually going to cut you off there, because this game, I'm going to just say it's on my list, and I think we should say more there. I won't say where, but this game did kind of come out of nowhere. And also, y'all lied to me. No reversible cover. I got the worst version of Bomberman R.
Aww. What are you talking about? Yeah, it's
my inside just shows me the directions of how to play the game. That's about it.
Oh. Then it must be. Then
well, in that case, that means you've got the Japanese cover.
No, it says E10+. That's American.
Okay.
Oh, boy. Then I must have been mistaken myself then, because, anyway.
Dang it, Konami, you're screwed up in America.
You have one job.
I'll kind of go over my list. My honorable mentions is weird because it was hard enough for me to think of 10 games for this list.
Well, you didn't have to put a full 10 for honorable mentions, so.
No. I meant not for this list. I meant for the top 10.
Oh, okay.
But this list is my honorable mentions, but they're only honorable mentions because I didn't get a chance to play them. That's pretty much it, and I really wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I'll start off with Nier Automata for PS4. I've heard wonderful things about this game, plus the fact Platinum was worked on this game makes it even better. I've been wanting to play this game a lot because I heard that the story makes you cry. and I heard that the characters are very lovable characters, and not only that, the combat is really good too. So I really wanted to play that. Another one is Persona 5, but Amber kind of already explained the reason why on that, so I won't go over that too much. Another one is Horizon Zero Dawn. I haven't had a chance to play it, and I really want to. It's just when this game came out, Breath of the Wild came out like 3 days later. So, yeah, it kind of got put on the back burner, unfortunately. I need to sit down and play Horizon. I really want to because it's a really pretty game, and it has robot dinosaurs in it. What's not to love? And the last one is actually a Christmas gift. Left gave me is Uncharted Lost Legacy because I like Uncharted. That's pretty much it.
You enjoyed his
It is
Christmas
another
gift?
Uncharted game. I will say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's pretty much my honorable mentions in a nutshell. It's just they were games that I haven't had a chance to play yet.
I'll be blowing through my list pretty quick. 2 of these are actually in my surprising list, so these will be very fast to go through. Kamiko, and it's for a lot of the same reasons as before. This is a fun little download game that you have so much replay ability with. It's very arcadey style, and I really enjoy it. For $5, you can't go wrong with Kamiko. ARMS, same thing, again, from the surprising list that I said. It's a very unique fighter that just kind of caught me off guard. I really got into this game when it first released. It's a lot of fun. It's great for parties. And it didn't hold my attention for as long, but this is a fighter I do want to go back to and share with friends and just have some fun time with. Cuphead, this art style in the game is fantastic. This took years to come out, but oh my god, this game loves to kick you in the dick. Why does he keep on kicking me in the dick?
I really want to play that game too.
Just be prepared to fail a lot, because this is a lot of fun, but this is definitely your old style arcade hard. I appreciate it for that value, but yeah, it's not a game I could really beat before the end of this year, so...
Would you say it's like the original Contra in a way?
Kind of, yeah.
Alright. I know people were like saying, oh, it's the 2D Dark.
Nah, I wouldn't give it that
Stop
kind of
that.
crap. No, because Dark Souls is hard for different reasons.
You know,
You guys play
Contra's
Crash
pretty
Bandicoot?
hard too. I
Very
can't
funny.
beat Contra without the 30 lives code.
I talked to a guy that has beat both Contra 1 and then Super C with 1 life, so...
And do it again on the Game Boy.
A very
Dude.
practiced kid.
Do it again on the Game Boy, sir.
Oh god, no. I'm good. Alright, next game I have on my list is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. This game was a pretty big improvement over the original release of Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U because I like the new characters. I love that they actually fixed the battle mode. And having everything unlocked from the moment you turn on the game was really good just to jump into things. And if you just want to play online with friends, all you need to do is just own the game at that point. You don't have all the cars, but at least you have all the tracks. So I feel like this is the best way to play the game, but if you already own the Wii U version and you don't really want to pay another $60 for it, it's not, I guess, worth that full $60 just yet. Crash Insane Trilogy. I enjoyed how this trilogy fixed a lot of the issues the original Crash games had on PS1. There's some bugs they still haven't patched out, which kind of confuses me, but there's a lot of good stuff here, like the time relics. Even though they're really not designed for Crash 1 and 2, at least gives it some more replay value, and the cut level story itself being DLC for the original Crash and the Insane Trilogy. Might be hard, but it's at least nice we got it. And then my final game on the list here is a piece of DLC from Shantae Half Genie Hero, Pirate Queen's Quest. If you like Pirate's Curse, you'll like Pirate's Queen Quest. This is basically the same kind of gameplay style. And it's fun to just breeze through all the levels and have Genie Hero now as Risky and just use all her weapons again. It was a lot of fun to play, and I really enjoyed this piece of DLC. But that should be it for a surprising... this is honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions.
Where are we at? So, now I think it's time for us to move into the big one.
Yeah,
Time.
definitely.
So,
Alright,
wait, what do you mean by that? Time
I guess
check,
the
where
big
we at?
thing is, yeah, I was gonna say we've been going for about an hour.
Yeah, this has been like an hour and a half so far. So if you stuck through this, now we're actually getting to the big
you.
stuff.
and I was like, oh, finally, they decided to do what they were going to do.
So how
Yeah.
this is going to work is our Game of the Year list. We're going to have a lot of games that cross over. We're going to go down from 10 to 1 in order. So I'll do my number 10, then Marley, you do number 10 and such. If we mention a game that's on someone else's list,
Have 10.
then you can easily bring it up. So I can mention my number 10, and it could be someone's number 8, and then you could just chime in, and that'll save you your turn.
As a heads up, given how many older games I've played this year, I'm probably going to have only about 5. So that makes...
That's okay.
Don't feel bad, Marley. I've only got 4.
Yeah, Lester, cut down your list.
Dang, man. I hope, Matt, you've reached
like,
my
the
10. I don't know
likelihood
what's
of
going to
it
be
being
weird.
I've got 10.
Probably there.
It was hard, but I got 10.
Okay, so I guess, Matt, you and me are going to go back and forth until we get to number 5.
Okay.
So I
Well-
guess I'll start it off first. And my number 10 is Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh. Okay.
This was a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
that's fair.
I actually got to play a lot of this game while I was working on the PlayStation 4 Pro review at the beginning of the year, and I really enjoyed the game. It's a lot of fun for an open world game. I wish I just played more. That's my big thing, because Breath of the Wild
I
kind
was
of killed it.
Period.
Breath of the Wild came out only a handful of days after this game. If Horizon came out at the beginning of February, it would have been fine. But Breath of the Wild just overshined it, and it's sad because a lot of the stuff that Horizon does, it does great. It looks beautiful. I like the robot futuristic setting, and just the fact that you can control these things as well, and there's so much you can do in this world. It's just a lot of fun. I really
heard the
enjoyed my time with
character
this.
Aloy was a pretty good character too.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about these characters.
Aloy
I've
is
only a couple hours
fantastic
in,
character.
so I wouldn't know how some of the characters are, but the ones I've met so far have definitely intrigued me in the story, and I definitely want to see more.
Okay.
But that's my
All
number
right.
10.
I need to sit down and play it sometime.
That's a good pick. Like, that's one of the ones I've been backseat gaming, but what I am seeing and experiencing is amazing. I don't think any other game has had so much detail put into the presentation as Horizon Zero Dawn this year. And it's hard to think of another game that comes close.
It looks like a movie. It's that good
Yeah.
at visuals.
Yeah. The Final Fantasy VII Remake's got a lot to live up to.
Yeah.
Whenever that
Step
comes
on the
out.
square.
Yeah. In 2059.
All right, so I guess Marley, you're number 5.
My number 5, yeah, because my list is a lot smaller. So number 5 for me is actually Digimon World Next Order.
Oh,
I'm done.
well,
Like,
that was
To
like
be completely honest, this was actually used for a while as padding to survive the wait for Monster Hunter Stories to come out. And when I started playing it, and I heard that town music remix from Digimon World 1, my heart melted, and I've just gone, hello childhood, how are you doing? This is going to be fantastic. And it is exactly that. It is everything that Digimon World 1 was, on steroids, with red cordial. It's a toddler running around completely crazy, and it's spoiling me on a constant basis. Until you get to an area where things are ridiculously hard and you need to train for ages, but the training mechanism has been refined so much over the other games that it is the perfect entry in the series, and everything that was so raw and new in the first game is so polished in Next Order. And I love it so much.
okay. That's I'll put it this way: that was a really high number on Amber's list.
Well, Amber, at this point, it's probably best for you to chime in.
You want to go ahead and chime in?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just warn you guys. I don't have a lot on this game, but when I get to my number 3, I think it was, I've got 2 pages worth on number 3. So my number 3 actually tops my number 2. So, but yeah, like Mario said, the music was brilliant. When, like he said, when you first hear the Final City music from the original game, you're just like, are we back in the 90s? Because it honestly feels like it. But the art style was taken from Digimon Cyber Sleuth, which shares the same art style as this game. And it's brilliant. It's beautiful. It's basically Digimon in HD if they remade the whole TV series and put it in HD. But the training, I did have a problem with it because a lot of times I'd be training up my 2 Digimon and they would get to Mega and die and be reborn before I could leave the training hall. The boss fights, some of them actually beat Skull Greymon with 2 rookies. That's how easy some of the boss fights are. And some of them are harder, though. You have to prepare yourself for. You have to take a while to collect the materials you need for fights and train up a while. But once you beat them, it is fulfilling because you just look at it like, wow, that was actually a big Digimon, a really strong Digimon, and I just took him down. But the last thing I want to say on it is pretty much, in my opinion, a remake of the original that was, like Marley said, polished up.
What is that word I'm thinking of? Oh yeah, soft reboot. Is that a good way to say it?
Don't even use that word around me.
There we go.
But it is a brilliant game. It is a brilliant game, and I suggest, and Marley probably agrees with me, if you are a Digimon fan, go play this game. It's on PlayStation 4, and you won't regret it.
Yeah.
They're coming out with a new Digimon game next year, too. It's equal to Cyber Sleuth.
You want to say
But that's
what
my
number that
intake
was?
on it.
Like, what number was on your list?
That was number 2 on my list.
That was really high up there,
Yeah, that was a
Marley.
high one then. Oh, if that's the case, Amber, you're next with your number 4.
I'm still playing it right now.
I'm still trying to beat the final boss.
Okay.
I guess now you're next for your number 4 then.
What's your number 4, Amber?
Well, let Marley go again. Well, you guys still gotta do number 9, don't you?
Oh, we gotta still do like our... Yeah, Matt's gotta do his 10 still.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, like, do you want to just talk about your number 4? Or you talked about your
Well,
number
what
2
Lester
just now.
wanted to do is down the line until we get to number 5, and then Mario and I did. That was the original plan.
Oh, was that really?
But you
I'm
ruined it.
sorry. I didn't even... Gosh.
There is a
All right,
structure
well-
and it's falling apart.
Isn't that
So
our
just
style,
go
though?
number 10, and Lester
Okay.
do number 9, and then
Alright, so
I'll
Matt's
go-
what? Your number 10.
My number 10 was ukulele. Because
That's fair enough.
Yeah, I can
my
see
number
that.
10 was because I'll put it this way: I backed it. So I got my copy. Well, I didn't get it for free, but I got a PS4 copy of ukulele, and I popped it in, and in the first 5 minutes, I was just like, "Oh my god, it's Banjo-Kazooie all over again."
More
It literally
specifically
was.
to me, I got Banjo-Tooie vibes from a lot of this. It felt like what they had from the original
Well, I know.
improved upon,
I mean-
and then improved upon again.
And then I started playing a little bit more, and then it did kind of venture off into Tui territories, and that was mostly because when I got to Tribal Stack Tropics First World, and I got a couple pages, which are the puzzle pieces from Banjo-Kazooie, and then they told me that you can expand the world by using a couple of those pages. And when they said expand, they mean expand, because holy crap, it got a lot bigger. And there was a lot of stuff to look for in the levels, and it reminded me why I love Spyro the Dragon, Banjo-Kazooie, and countless other collectathons. Even Mario 64 got vibes from. I'll put it this way: I was a very happy backer with ukulele. I know a lot of people didn't like the game because it used mechanics from the 90s, but you know what? I've always loved those mechanics from the 90s. So I can't complain I can't criticize something if I... You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I mean, like, I know most people can criticize stuff. It's just like, well, it hasn't aged properly. But the thing is, though, I liked those mechanics even when I was a kid.
I gotta give this game another shot because I got, like, I believe the final world before you can fight the final boss, and I kind of just stopped after a while because I enjoyed what I played, but it did give me the same kind of burnout after a while I had with, like, Banjo-Tooie and TK64. I just have to be in a certain mindset when I play a game like that. I just wasn't at the time.
I've always liked 3D collectathons. Those are like my favorite. When it comes to 3D platformers, those are my favorites. I can't say that. I just like going around looking for things, and this scratched that itch that I needed.
So I guess I should move on then to number 9, if that's the case. So
Yeah.
My number 9 is Shovel Knight Spectre of Torment. And this one actually was a fully standalone game, not just a piece of DLC. So it also counts as a standalone game for Game of the Year. This was a lot of fun. I think I enjoyed this campaign a lot more than Plague Knight. And I feel like this one I might want to go back to a little bit more than even just normal Shovel Knight. I liked it that much.
That's actually very good, yeah.
Spectre of Torment was really good. I enjoyed it a lot, too. And not only that, it gave you... I'm kind of going into spoiler territory. It kind of gave a backstory of one of the very, very minor characters from the original Shovel Knight, and I liked it.
Yeah, I would say out of the two campaigns that we have so far for the King of No Order characters, I think Spectre Knight's backstory is a lot better than Plague Knight's because he has a really good reason for doing what he's doing.
The Knights of No Quarter.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. The King's next.
Yeah, King Knight's next, which it comes out next year. So
yeah, but the Spectre
and the Shovel Knight videos.
Yeah, when please, but the gameplay for Spectre Torment, it was very fast paced. It felt very responsive. I liked just how well Spectre Knight controlled in general because he kind of felt like Mega Man X in a lot of ways, where you could zoom across levels using a dash move when you had the right armor, and even if you didn't, there's certain levels that let you grind on rails, pretty much letting you do the same thing anyways. I feel like this is probably one of the better ones to speedrun in the game as well.
I didn't get Mega Man X vibes so much. From what I got, it was Super Castlevania 4 vibes.
I can see that as well, yeah. But I really just... The big thing about this is, in general, if you're a fan of Shovel Knight, you already own it. Just go play it. It's definitely worth trying out. And again, this was great for filling the void.
On top of that, the DLC update was free. It was a free expansion after it had been on the Switch for a month.
I still feel like this is kicking Yacht Club in the butt because I would love to see him do more. I'm glad that King Knight's the final expansion because I want to see him do a new game after this. But this was a great game to fill the Switch void when the system first came out. Because this was a day after the system came out where Spectre Torment was available. And it was Switch exclusive too for a month. So you needed that system if you wanted to play it right away. It was a good time. I definitely recommend it.
Shovel Knight in general is such a good package, and so if you buy the game, just get Treasure Trove, get everything. It's only $5 more than regular.
Yeah. Because really, only right now, Spectre Torment is the standalone thing. You can only get that separate. You can't get Plague Knight separate yet, which maybe one time they'll do that. Who knows? But it was definitely worth it. But yeah, that's my number 9.
This way. Final boss of Spectre Torment was really ingenious, and I liked it.
That final boss was a lot of fun. I agree. But that's it for me. So I guess should we do your number 9 next, Matt? Then or someone else?
I guess so. It's back to be number 9.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
My number 9 we already touched up on, and I mentioned this earlier. My number 9 was Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon because, well, one thing I really did like about Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon was the fact that it is the enhanced version of Sun and Moon. But one reason why I like this game a lot more than Sun and Moon is because there's a lot more Pokemon in this version. So I can have a better team building experience with this. I'll put it this way. One of my favorite Pokemons in I can catch in this game, and that's Mareep. So I can have my Ampharos on my team if I...
This is true. I feel like the Pokemon variety was a lot better with Ultra.
The Pokemon variety is what made me like this game a lot more than the previous one. I do agree with what you guys said. Probably should have waited another year before we got this. But I also understand why they probably pushed this one out. It's because I guess Nintendo's kind of nudging them to get Pokemon Switch ready by very soon. So that's probably why they had to hurry up and get this out already. And I understand that. And, I know that I do agree that this game should have came out next year, if anything. But I don't think that people saying that this should have been DLC, this really shouldn't. It's always been this way.
I feel like just the weakest part about the game compared to the originals is probably just story. Because I feel like the presentation to story was better in base Sun and Moon. Because there's some character development that is kind of cut out of Ultra. And that makes me kind of sad. And then can we just please get a muzzle for the Rotom Dex? Because he talks way too much now.
Oh, also,
He didn't before.
I can catch a wild Zorua. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, that thing was a legendary
that's a nice
technically in
addition.
Gen 5. You needed to do a special
Oh,
event to get
God.
it in black and white.
You don't realize how happy you made me, Game Freak. I don't have to have stupid special event to get just a Pokemon now.
You couldn't get it through the QR code for regular though?
I don't remember. I've never done personally. I've never done the QR code stuff.
I've heard the
so.
QR codes were a little buggy though, so sometimes you would try to scan in like a wild Zora, but instead you get a Magikarp.
But in the game properly, Zora is in the Pokemon school area, so I was happy.
Dude, he was on Route 1 for me. He was the first wild Pokemon I ran into. It was like, oh, hey, a Zora. I'll catch that.
I thought that was awesome. But yeah, that's pretty much why mine's number 9, and I understand why you guys are upset with it, and I can perfectly understand why. But I felt like this was Pokemon's one of my favorite franchises ever, and I just can't say I hate this franchise, even if they give me something, because I'm still playing the game you know what I mean?
Can I also just say that the biggest thing I really liked about this version in particular was the post-game? Because the post-game is way better in Ultra than it was in base.
I haven't gotten to post-game yet.
We need to finish post-game for the first game
yeah,
first.
we still need to finish post-game for the first game.
They do a lot of the same stuff that the post-game and Sun and Moon have in this one, but they add more stuff to it as well. Like, you have that whole big thing they pushed with the advertisements. The one thing that showed the most was the Rainbow Rocket stuff. That, I feel, is a little bit shorter than the Ultra Beast quest from Sun and Moon, but it made a better lasting impression to me. It was a lot of fun. And I like how they brought back basically all the big name bad guys from each generation of Pokemon in that mode.
Yeah. I was excited I want to play that mode when we get a chance.
I actually think, too, in Ultra Sun and Moon, once you do that, I think one of the people who can challenge you for your championship now in the Elite Four is Giovanni. Because I've seen clips of it.
Oh, really? Okay, well.
It's pretty interesting. But yeah, I feel like the improvements were pretty good with Ultra.
I'm also mad about this. This is why I mentioned when we recorded earlier this week, I mentioned about how I don't like leaks. I already know who the final boss is, and I'm mad about that.
Yeah.
And I haven't gotten to it. And I know it's different than Sun and Moon's final boss.
Yeah, it was. I wasn't expecting that, to be fair. I thought it was going to be the same one, and then they brought that character up. I'm like, oh, well, you're different.
Yeah, I don't want to mention here because Amber doesn't know.
Oh, no spoilers. But I was saying, I was expecting to fight the same guy again, and then boom, new person.
But yeah, that was my number 9. I mean, I didn't want to talk too much about it, but that was one reason why I liked it a lot.
Alright, so I guess 8 next, if that's the case. I'll give my number 8, which is Super Bomberman R. And this is why I was silent when you guys were talking about your surprising game being this one, because I got a lot to say about this. This game was a lot of fun, and as a pretty big Bomberman fan who actually got into the series with the N64 games, this one kind of shocked me with how well they brought it back. It came out of nowhere.
Really
like, I grew up with that series, so just the fact that it had come back just made me so happy. It's why it's in my honorable because, yeah, I have touched as much as open the case, look at the covers, go, oh, okay, and it's telling me that it's got DLC. That's cool. And then close it and go, I've got way too many other things to play.
But yeah,
I have lived through Bomberman's bumpy life, so I am very happy.
Got Pyramid Head Bomberman.
There's so many different characters. You got Pyramid Head Bomberman. You have like Rumble Rose's characters, Castlevania characters, like so many different crossovers. It's amazing.
Didn't they have Zerion and not Gallagher, the other one?
Yeah, one of the Gallagher characters.
They even had options from Gradius, like the actual weapon type options, and that like you made a character out of something that's a weapon. You did it.
Yeah.
It's weird, but it's so cool they did stuff like that. It's a lot of fan service in this one.
There was, they had all these Konami characters, but no Metal Gear characters whatsoever.
I mean, they've been signed with Metal Gear, so I'm not surprised.
I'm gonna go cry a river now.
I was expecting a Snake Bomberman or something.
But this game has gotten a lot of updates with its DLC. Originally, the game was in 30 frames per second. They bumped down the resolution a bit to up the frame rate, and it definitely helped fix some of the problems the game had in terms of gameplay. It just made it feel a little more responsive because of that. And the only bad thing about this game I like to say is really the online mode. It's still kind of crap. A peer-to-peer online service is not really great for an online game nowadays. You need dedicated servers because there's so many dropouts, but there's just a lot of great things about this. Like the story mode's great. They even added a new chapter to it, which I heard is hard as balls, but I'm still wanting to go back and try that new chapter to see how that plays. And the Grand Prix mode, having a 3-on-3 Bomberman fight, that to me sounds really interesting. I want to try it. This is just definitely one of those big surprises. Was not expecting to see Bomberman ever to come back. And he's celebrating his 33rd year for some reason, but at least he's alive.
I mean,
He's
if
alive
Samus can celebrate her 31st, then I'm sure Bomberman can celebrate his 33rd and finally give us back a party Bomberman game you can play with family without having to break out, the N64 or, the NES.
Like, just for example, when I first got the Switch, this was in my final week of my college course, and I brought it in, like, every day in that final week. And one of the games we played on this system the most at that time was Super Bomberman R. Like, every time I brought it in, they're like, you got Bomberman? Because it was a game that just drew people in. It's a great multiplayer game, and it's great to see it back.
All right.
I'm so glad I bought it on launch day, too. Like, Breath of the Wild, like, I was really happy. I like that game a lot.
But it was really good, and that's why that's my number 8.
Alright, so I guess I'm going to go again with 8 myself.
I guess so, yeah.
Because my number 8, surprising, is Splatoon 2.
That's also on my list.
That's also on my list as well. I had that as number 4, actually.
That's my number 3.
I'm gonna go take a nap now.
Alright, we got a lot to say about Splatoon then.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big fan of Splatoon. This game, I felt like, was a very, very... It's how a sequel should be made, my honest opinion. They not only made it better, they added more stuff to it. Like Salmon Run, for instance. I love Salmon Run.
Oh, it's the best new edition. It's great. I just wish we can play it for, ever.
I know.
Instead of once every other day.
I just wish they would give us some damn shoes.
Yeah, that's so weird. We keep on getting the shirts and the headpieces.
And we still haven't had a pair of shoes.
I like Salmon Run because it's basically Horde for like all these other like first person shooters, third person shooters. They always have some Horde mode, and Splatoon didn't have that in the first game, so they made one in this game, and I love it. I love Salmon Run. I also love the classic multiplayer games like Turf War and Rainmaker and all those other modes. That's still fun, and I love the single player.
The single player is so much
better
more
than the first.
balanced.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like gameplay-wise, single player is a lot better than Splatoon 2.
Yeah, and it just felt like they made such a better sequel. That's how a sequel should be made. It wasn't, Splatoon 1.5 like everybody thought it was going to be. It was actually deserving of Splatoon 2.
Definitely.
That's
what
I think about it.
You go, Matt.
You guys can go ahead and talk what you like about it.
Oh, yeah. Because I was going to say, the thing I really enjoyed about Splatoon 2 is it was part of the deciding factor of, do we have one Switch or two Switches? Because one thing we really had trouble with was every time Splatfest came up for Splatoon 1, okay, who's actually competing in Splatfest? Or do we have enough time to get us both into enough Splatfest matches so we can get to the max rank and get enough of the deep sea snails? With Splatoon 2, we made the invested decision of we both want to enjoy this. We both want to put in the time towards playing it together. And it means when we get to the multiplayer and we've finished all of the story stuff, we can keep at it. And with Salmon Run especially, that became an incredibly enjoyable experience. Frustrating, but enjoyable.
Sounds about right, yeah.
Yes.
Like, we looked forward to when Salmon Run was open more than we looked forward to doing multiplayer with people. Because Salmon Run was a lot more team oriented, and the joy of getting to yell different locations that we'd labeled on the map and organized previously that morning before it opened that night was just such an entertaining process. Well, Lester, you've been through this with us. You know how much fun it is.
Yeah,
and
it's
how chaotic it can
You've
get.
already given the enemies specific names. I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I ended up calling the steel eel the steel egg, and that just ended up confusing everything.
But okay, well, Lester, what do you want?
I mean, you guys pretty much echoed a lot of the same points I'll have because this is why it's my number 3. It's a great game. It's the reason why I bought a Switch at launch, because I knew this was coming very soon. Like, I seen the trailer. I was in the middle of class watching the Switch presentation in January on my phone, and when Splatoon 2 came out, I had this loudest cry come out, and everyone was like, okay, what's going on over there? Because I was that excited for Splatoon 2. It's great. It had so many new improvements over the original.
I can imagine his very funny teacher saying something too.
I bet you if he was still in classroom when Bayonetta 3 got announced, he would have done the same thing too.
I'd be on the floor dead.
When the direct, we were just so thrilled when the direct happened. We're like, new hairstyles, yes, okay, explain.
But this game is great because it added a lot of new stuff that fixed a lot of the problems I had with the original. The fact that now you can team up in Splatfest, that's a huge improvement. I wish you could do that with not a full lobby of 4 and just doing like pairs, kind of like rank mode stuff, but you can at least do that. Salmon Run is a very great addition because it's a good horde mode in the game. There's just a lot of variety with that mode because of its enemies. They added a new ranked mode. So far, it's been Clan Blitz, and it's great. It's basically football for us Americans. It's just a lot of fun. I've been enjoying that mode. I need to play more Clan Blitz to say more about it, but from what I played, it's actually starting to become one of my favorite ranked modes in the game. It's that good so far. And the final boss, I'm not going to spoil it here, but that final boss has become one of my favorite final boss fights now in any game. It's so good, and it's a huge love letter to the original Splatoon. I was not expecting it.
Weapons. It is so much fun, like maxing that out with all the weapons.
Oh, I can
enjoy
imagine.
Going back with all the weapons to unlock them.
I love doing that final hit.
Getting the hero Octobrush was so worth it. Pointless, but so worth it.
I love doing that final hit in that boss. That just makes you feel so satisfied once you do that. It even has a rhythm game here. Instead of having those little games you can play on the gamepad, kind of returning in a way, they only have one this time, and it's a brand new one. But it's basically a glorified sound test, and if you're a fan of rhythm games, this one is really difficult. I can't clear the songs on hard because it's so fast, but it's so good. And can we all just agree, Splatoon 2 is the only reason why you downloaded the Switch app? And it's just so you can shut the shop. You're literally just using it as a glorified shop.
Let's see how that whole charging service goes when they introduce that next year.
They actually pushed that back till next year.
By push that back, do they mean they're considering?
I don't even know if they're even going to consider it now. They delayed it 2018 autumn, which...
We'll see, because they keep on saying we'll do a charge, but we'll see.
Back, I'm just going to be like, well, why do you even bother at this point?
But
that's just...
Splatoon 2 has definitely really kept my attention. It's one of my most played games on the system at this point. I'm always going back to it, at least once a month for the Splatfest, and if not, I try to go back and just play some online, whether it be just normal turf or whatever rank mode's available, and try to catch Salmon Run when I can. That's great with a good group of friends, and that's something to definitely get back to. But there you go. That was my number 3 and Marley's 4, so you really sparked a conversation with that one.
Nicely done that.
So I guess now I'll go into 7, if that's the case.
7.
And my number 7 is Uncharted: The Lost Legacy.
Oh, okay. That was on my honorable mentions. I need to play it.
Yeah, it's good.
You got Christmas, but I haven't had a chance.
Basically, it's my same description I gave to you when you got it. It's like, it's another Uncharted. It's good. It's a solid game. Even without having Nathan Drake in here at all. He's only mentioned. He doesn't make an appearance at all. His brother makes an appearance, though. So if you played Uncharted 4, you'll at least recognize him. But playing through the game as Chloe Fraser and then having, funny enough, Nadine Ross as your partner, which when I first played the game, I was like, hang on, how's it going to work? Because she was the bad guy from 4. But just see a good chemistry form between these two characters, and you actually see a good side to Nadine at the end of the game. There's a lot of character development in this one in particular. I feel like a lot more here than some of the other games in the Uncharted series. And even without Nathan Drake, I still feel like this is a very by-the-books Uncharted, and it works for that. Like, Chloe's sense of humor is basically the same as Drake's, so you still have that good witty charm. The platforming around is very similar, so you're still doing a lot of climbing, a lot of shooting. I don't know how you keep on getting away with killing these many people, but it's an Uncharted world. It just happens. And it still makes you feel like you're playing a National Treasure movie as a video game. And this game, just like Horizon, it looks fantastic. I can also tell my PS4 Pro is working overtime when I'm playing a game like this because the fans won't shut up. It really ramps them up for a reason. This game is graphically intensive and it looks beautiful. It's a great game. And even that one open world chapter, Chapter 4, I believe it was, that was actually unexpected. It was a nice little change of pace for the game. So you can do things in whatever order you want in that chapter, and I like that.
When you said unexpected, I thought you meant it was unexpected just how loud the PS4 got.
That too. When I first got the system, I played Uncharted 4 on it earlier this year. I'm like, God, it's like a wind turbine.
Mm.
To be fair, it was also in a little bit more of an enclosed space, so it's a little better now, but it could still ramp up the fans.
Mm.
But for good reason with the graphics. But yeah, it's definitely a really good game, and I enjoy my time through it. I always like me a good story game like this. So yeah, that was my number 7.
Alright, well, my number 7, technically the game came out last year, but they made a Switch port this year. That's Doom on Switch.
Oh, you enjoyed yourself some good wood.
He actually just beat it.
I just beat it, like, I'll put it this way. The game, I didn't get a chance to play it too much on the PS4 last year, but coming back to it on Switch made me realize I was missing out big time, because after I played it on Switch, I realized this might be one of my favorite games I've played in recent years.
That's really good.
I love the game because it's just so fast paced. It's so just like in your face about everything, and it's just I had a lot of fun with it because it was just, it literally was like, hey, we're here just to have fun. We're gonna, like, they were straightforward about it. That's all they cared about. And I was like, okay, all right, I'll ride your hype train then. And then I just loved it. And the Switch port is really, really good. Yeah, it's not 60 frames like PS4 version, but you know what? For being on a portable system, we just had an 11-hour car ride trip to Amber's parents not too long ago, and I played Doom the whole entire way, and I was just like, you can't get that with anything else anywhere else. Playing a big budget title like Doom on the go like that.
So you could say Doom put you in a good mood?
Yes.
You in the mood for Doom?
Mood for Doom?
Doom put me in a mood.
But number 7 was just, I put that on there because it made me realize I was missing out on one of my favorite games I played in recent years. So, that was my number 7.
All right. I guess I'm going on to number 6 then. So my number 6 was Metroid: Samus Returns.
Yeah, that was my number 5.
Oh, there you go. That's a good lead in then. So we have a lot to talk about here. I will just say this is a solid remake of Metroid 2: Return of Samus. And that's saying a lot because I did play the fan remake, another Metroid 2 Returns. I like that game. AM2R is a really good fan remake, but this is a really solid official remake.
Yeah.
It had a lot of charm to it with its boss fights and everything.
I'm just glad Nintendo made another Metroid, like, official Metroid game, not a spin-off. Because it was so good to play another 2D Metroid again. I hadn't had that so much joy in my face like I did with Metroid Return of Samus Return.
That's gonna feel good, yeah.
Excuse me? You just
What?
worded that weirdly.
I haven't had so much joy on my face.
Think about what you're saying.
What? What's wrong with what
All
I
right,
was
so
saying?
the wedding is off. Matt's a single man again. Ladies?
Excuse me, Lester?
I don't
aren't you kicking him out now?
Never mind, I'll tell you later.
Joy is not an innuendo.
Let's just say I think you were saying that this was more important than the, engagement.
No! I didn't say that. I was talking about video games. God damn.
Let's just put it this way. He had a lot of fun with the game.
In
a lot more ways than one.
I was very happy playing the game because I haven't played a 2D Metroid since Metroid Zero Mission.
Yeah, that was the last one that came out.
And I was just excited to play 2D Metroid again. It did such wonderful things. They added new mechanics like the counter system, which made everything better, and made it easier to dispatch enemies. And not only that, like Lester, you said earlier, boss fights were amazing. I love the boss fights.
The boss fights were the big highlight, especially when you got to the end. I was not expecting that final fight. And I can see why a lot of people said, oh yeah, this reminds me a lot of Metroid Prime. I can kind of see why now.
Yeah. Final boss, I was like, I'll put it this way. I said, it's about time. That was the words that came out of my mouth when I saw the final boss.
Yeah,
so
that's true. I will say my only major complaint with this game, well, I kind of have two. One's a minor one. I wish I could use my D-pad for moving Samus. I love using D-pad for 2D games, so it felt a little weird at first to use the circle pad, but you get used to that. But the big thing to me is I feel like I would not start here if you're new to the Metroid series, because this is just a bit too hard. You'll die a lot here. It's good there's more checkpoints, but you die a lot.
They did fix that, and that's one thing I've said. People who did who haven't played the older ones, I think they would find enjoyment in this one, because the older ones, if you died, you went back to your last save point. This one, if you die, you go back to the last checkpoint.
Yeah, they started to do this since, I believe, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption on Wii, and I'm glad they've been doing this since, because I don't want to go back to my last save. I could have saved like 3 hours ago. That doesn't help. So that really helps. I definitely don't recommend playing this game for your first time in Fusion mode. You'll die immediately.
Don't play Fusion mode.
I haven't tried Fusion mode yet. I haven't even tried the normal hard mode that's unlocked in this game when you first beat it, and I'm afraid to even touch that. It's a lot of fun, but man, this is like Cuphead for me, where I keep on getting kicked.
Yeah, that was my number 5, so...
Yeah, and that was my 6, so, well, I guess we can skip your 5, and I guess I go right to my 5.
I was going to say, what was Matt's 6?
What was my...
Oh, that's right, yeah, we gotta do your 6.
Did we skip? No.
My number 6 was Sonic Mania.
Okay, well, that's fine with me, because that was my number 5. So we are just going to my number 5 anyways.
Sonic Mania was my number 6. I'll just put it this way. It was probably the best Sonic game I played in a long, long time. I think the last really good Sonic game I played that I actually had like a lot of fun playing was probably Generations, maybe?
I would agree with you.
I like Lost World, but I didn't think it was like the greatest game ever.
I liked it on the 3DS.
Yeah,
I wish you had a 3DS capture card then. You could be the one for League on that one.
No. World 4. No, thank you.
But Sonic Mania was such a joy to play through, because that you could tell the love and dedication that was put into that game. You can definitely see it.
Yeah.
Because recreated a lot of old levels that people loved. There was a lot of levels there I didn't expect to come back in this like anniversary-ish title. Like, one thing, my jaw dropped when I saw Hydro City Zone. I was like, they brought that back? Awesome. And Oil Ocean. I didn't expect that.
That one was a shocker. When I got there, I'm like, hey, wait, this level's back? Ah. Okay, wasn't thinking this would ever come back, and here it is. And it's a mix of Samopolis, too.
Yeah, that's one thing I liked about it, too. And they added a lot of... They made those stages about as long as like a typical Sonic 3 and Knuckles stage. You know how long those stages were? They weren't like fly by like in 2-minute stages. And not only that, they added a bunch of new mechanics for each zone. So like Lester said, each zone became kind of a hodgepodge of other zones in a way. And not only that, they added new stages. I think they had like 4 new stages in there. And Sonic got the drop dash, which is a godsend.
When I first played the game, I had no idea how to use it. On my second playthrough, I'm like, can we add the drop dash to every 2D Sonic game? Because it's that good.
Oh my gosh. I'll put it this way. I did like 3 complete playthroughs, and I have like 40 hours of gameplay on that game.
Yeah, I don't even know how many hours I have. I at least look at my Steam one, and then I can add it up with the Switch version, because this is a game where I originally had it pre-ordered on PC, but it got a 2-week delay. I wanted to play this game so bad, I double-dipped immediately, played the Switch version, and I don't regret it. It's that good to me. I've already played my PC copy for 12 hours, and adding in what I played on the Switch, it could be near 50. Because I've done at least like 8 playthroughs, I think, of this game at this point.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. This game is a lot of fun. I love how the big thing is they bring back a lot of elements from classic Sonic games here, too. They bring back the special rings from Sonic 3 and Knuckles, so you enter the special stages in that way, and that's really good. That was my favorite way of getting into a special stage.
And not only that, they brought back Blue Sphere game.
Yeah, it's not really something you do for actual bonuses. It actually is there for unlocking stuff, but all the stuff you unlock in this game is great. There's a sound test like Sonic CD. You can play the Puyo Puyo game they have in here, the Dr. Robotnik Mean Bean Machine. And it's basically a full-fledged game. If you didn't pick up Puyo Puyo or Tetris and you got Sonic Mania, well, you got Puyo Puyo in your pocket now. It's that good. Well, as long as you got the Switch version for Pocket. But it's so surprising to see that was there as a full thing. And you can unlock a Blue Spheres mode that not only have randomized versions of the Sonic 3 and Knuckles Blue Spheres, kind of like when you locked it on with Sonic 1, but it's also brand new design Blue Spheres we've never seen. Like, you got green spheres in the game now, teleporting spheres. It's ridiculous of how much content. I don't think you can ever beat this Blue Spheres mode.
You've got to be
God.
pleased by Christian Whitehead's creativity, because, like, I only recently found out that he had actually programmed in a 7th special stage to Sonic 1 iOS.
Yeah.
Which, if you increase the emeralds count, you can actually go into. And
wow.
For something fan added in by the porter, I guess, with the retro engine, it is surprisingly official-esque. So if he can reproduce something like that in a Sonic 1 context, I am not surprised the amount of effort he put into the Blue Spheres.
It's ridiculous of how much content they bring back, too. There's so many references in Sonic Mania in general from all the games. There's a lot of Game Gear references, classic game references, even some newer references in here as well. One of my favorites was the buzzing, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that one threw me off guard. Like, wait, I hear the buzzing sound effect at the end of Studiopolis Act 2's fight, and that's right from the live stream when they announced Sonic Mania, because apparently they had really terrible audio cables and didn't want to have a guy go out and get new ones at the time. But they referenced that in the game, and that was so unexpected. They brought a meme to life, and unlike Sonic Forces, this meme isn't kind of forced. Knuckles and Knuckles mode, I love Knuckles and Knuckles mode.
This isn't a bounce pad.
Although you get me started on the mods.
You've shown me.
The mods are weird.
Knuckles and Knuckles mode. And if you beat Knuckles in Knuckles mode, it'll be Knuckles reading a story to the woodland creatures that says Sonic Mania and Knuckles.
It's so good. You just don't expect this kind of stuff, but yet here it is.
No,
this is a giant love letter to Sonic fans. While Forces might have been kind of there this year, Mania left that impression. It kind of brought the Hedgehog back into light for a lot of people. And I'm glad, because this game is great.
Mm-hmm.
And T-Lopes, mwah, mwah, give me that soundtrack.
So that's 6 and 5 down.
Yeah, we both talked about both.
Caught off all the way there.
Yeah,
You've
so
already
now,
done my 4.
Yeah, so now we're on 4. So I guess I'll lead in number 4. If
wait, I've got an idea. Since Lester, you and me have talked pretty much this whole entire list.
Yeah.
Let's. Marley's already talked about his number. Let Amber do her.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So Amber, go ahead and give us. I believe now it's your number 3.
No, this is actually my number 4. The Digimon was my number 2, so
Okay.
you could skip me on number 2. But this is actually number 4 on my list. This one's gonna be a little bit different, and I didn't expect anybody else to have this on their list. But my number 4 is South Park: The Fractured Butthole. Yes, that's the actual title.
I'm just glad this finally came out.
Yeah, I was scared
I don't have that one on my
I wouldn't
list.
be able to do something like this with this game until next year if we decide to do this again. But thank God Ubisoft and all of them got their act together and finally released this game. But it's a direct sequel to The Stick of Truth, where they go from playing wizards and elves, I think it was, or something like that.
Kind of like a fantasy role play game.
To superheroes, which I really like.
They literally start the game off. They were still playing that game, and then Cartman comes in and says, "Guys, stop it. We're playing superheroes now." And everybody just took off their costumes and just went back and started playing superheroes. I love that. That was funny.
But I mean, it's basically the same as the first game, but the combat is a little bit different from what I've seen. What was it like? It wasn't.
It wasn't so much. It was turn based, but it's different style turn based. The Stick of Truth had kind of like Paper Mario, like the RPG turn based, like the original Paper Mario. Like the Paper Mario 2000 where you would attack an enemy and it would be in a sequence of button presses, and then when the enemy attacks, you have to kind of block the sequence of button presses. This one's a little bit different, where you had to do you had enemies on front and side of you, and you had to like charge up punches and stuff like that.
Yeah, do like combo attacks pretty much.
Yeah, combo attacks and everything. So it was very different from the first game's combat, which I'm thankful for.
But yeah. I do like South Park, and I'm excited to play this one. I haven't got to play it yet, but I've seen enough of it to know what it is. So that's my number 4, though.
I'm glad you got to talk about that, because I don't think we had this anymore.
Yeah, because that one I haven't tried. I still need to beat the original Stick of Truth, but I did hear this is a pretty good sequel, and people have been enjoying it.
Finally, we can play it.
I know, right? How many delays it got? I'm just glad it finally came out.
Okay.
But so, Lester, you can go talk on.
It's convenient because since I just mentioned delays, this one's another one. My number 4 is A Hat in Time.
Ooh.
Can I just say?
Love that today.
Can I just say, starting out, this game is so heckin' cute. Like the first line that you hear in Antdude's video of this is basically my summary of this game. This game is just so cute. It's so charming. It was a 4-year wait, definitely worth it. I was following this game since 2013, and I was waiting and waiting and waiting to hear more news about this, and now we finally have the game in our hands, and it was worth it. This game is fantastic. Hat Girl controls like a dream. It's so fun to speedrun through this game. The developers themselves, they actually give you a lot of options in the game if you're a speedrunner. Like if you play on PC, you can download the 1.0 version. There's an in-game timer that tracks your overall time and in-level times. So they really encourage you doing that kind of stuff too, if you're that kind of a player. But they encourage you just exploring the levels with things like the extra hats you can get with yarns, and then the relic pieces to get more levels, and even going back through to get the time relics unlocked with these warp points. There's just so much to this game. It's just so good. It made me fall in love in the same way I did with a game like Mario 64. And while Yooka-Laylee and Hat in Time both came out this year, and people will ask which one was the better kickstarting collectathon style platformer, I have to give it more to Hat in Time, because this game just has so much charm and lived up to all that hype. Yooka-Laylee kind of did, but I feel like this game kind of just upstepped it a bit. It's just so good.
I haven't gotten to play it myself, but like I said, I just bought it today, so I'll have to play it sometime.
It has a lot of really memorable parts to me. Like, I love that one chapter, that one section in Chapter 2 where you're filming a movie and you're basically playing a mystery role. I loved that part of the game. It's one of my favorite parts. The boss fight in Chapter 3, one of my favorite bosses of this year. It's almost that same level as the Splatoon 2 final boss to me. It had so much charm, and that music, oh my god, it's amazing. I'm glad they got Grant Kirkhope on this. I'm glad they got that funding.
Hold on, so they got Grant on Yooka-Laylee, Hat in Time, and Mario and Rabbids.
He was a busy man this year.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 games this year with a soundtrack on them. It's ridiculous.
That's insane.
I haven't gotten to play it. I've seen plenty of footage of it. I've seen let's plays of it. But I heard that they took inspiration for this game by not just 3D collectathons, Mario Sunshine in general.
Dude, there's actually one point in Chapter 2 where I was unlocking some switches, and I thought I heard a Pianta sound. So you're not wrong in that regard. this game was advertising itself like if you enjoyed the N64 era gamings in particular, like Mario 64, Banjo-Kazooie and such, that's the thing they were really trying to push for that kind of advertisement, so you're not wrong in that regard.
Okay. Well,
It plays a lot like those games. You go into a level, you have this giant open world area to go run through for each chapter. Once you grab the timepiece, you are sent back to the hub of the ship, and when you select a new level to go into, like a new act for the chapter, you have more parts of it that you can actually mess around with and explore, so it will actually change. It won't just be the exact same thing.
okay.
The badges also, for my final point, I think that's one of the best things about this, because you can customize Hack Girl to play in whatever way you want, because they're basically like that hats in the regard, but there's a lot more badges in this game. You got some useful badges like the hookshot. It's a required badge you get in Chapter 3, but it works as you would imagine. It's kind of like the grapple hook more from Wind Waker, to be exact. But it does allow you to traverse around, explore more. But you also have useless badges, but these are badges that just add some extra charm and Easter eggs to the game. Like one of my favorites was the Mumble badge. It's probably the most expensive one in the game, but if you can afford it,
Mumbo
instead,
badge?
yes, it's exactly what it sounds like. Instead of full voice acting, because this game has full voice acting in it, instead of hearing actual talking, if you clip the Mumble badge, people will mumble in the same kind of style that the Banjo games did.
Oh my
wonderful.
god, that's wonderful.
Dude, there is a badge in this game that when you're wearing the sprint hat, it changes your sprint to a scooter. You can drive a scooter around levels, and it's faster. It's just so cute. Oh my god, go get the game.
I did. It's downloading.
I'm so glad you did. I'm just saying for people in general, just play this. If you're a fan of these kind of games, play it. It's so good. Oh man, I had the hugest smile on my face playing this.
Okay,
But that was my
you
4.
talked about your number 4. Marley, did you talk about your number 4?
My number 4 was Splatoon 2.
Okay,
Your
so
number
we're on number 3. So
Well, I haven't talked about my number 4 yet.
okay.
Amber, you talked about yours, right?
Yeah.
That was
Mine was South Park.
My number 4 was Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Oh wow, that made up your list quick.
I'm not surprised.
I haven't beaten it yet, but I've gotten I played enough of it to tell you I really like the game. It's a really good game. Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Oh boy. They I guess they really listened to feedback about how X's story was great. So they decided to work specifically on making a good story in this game. And I'll put it this way. I'm a big fan of Tales of Xillia. That's my favorite Tales game. This story is kind of plays out like Xillia's in a way, and I'm really enjoying it a lot. I really like the character Rex. I liked his character, and I love the British voice acting. They brought that back. That made me happy. I like Pyra. She's a very, very good developed character. She has her funny moments, and I like her. And they also have Nia. She's pretty funny too. I just remember that one scene when they get to town where she tears up a wanted poster because it made her look really bad.
Oh god, that scene is hilarious.
And not only that, it's just I got to the part where we've ran into Tora, the Napon. He's so too.
He wants to join Rex team so bad. Like he has that same charm as the one from Xenoblade 1, from what I heard.
He's like Ricky. He's like Ricky, and I love it. But what I'm thinking about that one scene where I don't know if you got into this part yet, Lester, but they were trying to get his artificial blade to work, and it's Poppy. And when they get her powered up, she kind of does this weird anime cowy stance, like it's super cute and everything. And they're like, "What's going on?" And then Tora's like, my grandpa, my grandpa did that. Yes, my grandpa did that. Blame him. He's the pervert. And then not even after that, some maid outfits fall out of his closet, and then Pyro's just looking at him, glaring at him, saying, "Oh, really?" I started cracking up so hard at that scene. I thought it was really funny. But the combat in the game is really fun. Like, it's really difficult to it's scary, difficult to look at first. But once you start playing and realizing that everything kind of goes in a pattern, you start to understand how to play it a little bit. And I've been having a lot of fun, even though I get my butt kicked a lot by super high level monsters. I'm looking at you, lady.
Oh, just let me go to the first town of the game. Level 6. Oh my god, level 86 monster. Everyone run.
Level 86 territorial bird comes over, one-shots me. Oh, I'm dead. But
no, he didn't even one-shot you.
He just looks at you and just boom, dead.
But I'm even though I die a lot, like, it takes a lot of learning to battle system, but I really do honestly am starting to prefer this battle system to the originals. And the originals wasn't even that bad to learn. And I just like the way the game looks. I know there's been people saying that, I know Digital Foundry, that one video where they're saying, on handheld mode, it's sub 360p. And I'm just like, I know that's really, really, really disheartening, but that's okay. The game is still really pretty to look at, though. There's like so much environment to look at and everything else. The game is just pretty to look at. It's fun to play, and I love the characters in the game. It's a really solid JRPG if you need a JRPG to play.
Yeah, I will say for a newcomer, it's actually pretty easy to get into, and it's a lot of fun for that reason.
The combat is really kind of scary to get into, but they give you enough tutorials to kind of help you understand it.
Yeah.
So that was my number 4.
Okay, so now on to number 3. I already said mine, Splatoon 2. Amber, you said yours already. Digimon.
No.
Oh, was it? I keep getting confused.
Digimon was number 2.
Okay. Well, that was her number 2 is Digimon, but you said yours was Splatoon 2. Marley, what was your number 3?
Oh, I haven't got to my number 3 yet.
Okay, well, why don't you go then?
You guys have been bouncing around like bloody ping pong
I know, this
balls.
is ridiculous.
No, but my number 3 was actually Fire Emblem Warriors. I freaking loved it. Yeah,
I loved it too.
Coming out of Hyrule Warriors on the Wii U, I didn't know what to expect. I was hoping it to be similar, but I wanted it to still have that Fire Emblem charm. And now that I've actually played a Fire Emblem game, it definitely is more Fire Emblem than Hyrule Warriors was.
Yeah.
I know I've seen a lot of people saying that Hyrule Warriors should have been Fire Emblem Warriors because Fire Emblem Warriors is better. No, I think it's a thing of Fire Emblem fits the mold a little better, and the changes and the uniquenesses to Fire Emblem Warriors, I think, work in its advantage. I think it makes Fire Emblem a little more replayable as well, because there's not quite the massive collectibles and replaying and the side missions of everything. Don't get me wrong, I loved that Hyrule Warriors had so many costumes and weapon options for everyone. But Fire Emblem Warriors was just so good to go through because there's never really been that kind of approach taken to a Fire Emblem game before. It's always been real-time strategy, moving them around, having fights, working on the relationships, pairing everyone off for about 3 hours a day just to try and work out which direction you want every character going in. But then just putting it in that real-time fighting context, I think really worked to Fire Emblem's advantage, and Warriors was really enjoyable.
Yes,
I think
it was. I like that a lot.
The selections of characters were really good as well. Like the DLC, if it hasn't come out recently, it's coming out soon. I'm looking forward to playing as a Wayne, I'll say that much.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun.
Marley, I'm gonna tell you right now, you've floodgates by saying what you said right there, because I know for a fact especially on my Twitter, there was a lot of people disappointed in the cast of characters they chose for Fire Emblem Warriors because apparently nobody likes Away Fates according to the Fire Emblem fan base.
It's ridiculous.
It is a little ridiculous.
I thought it was a good selection.
I love both those games. So
there's no way it was going to be a massive selection like Heroes got. And Heroes is getting slagged on a daily basis by people all over the world. So, like, pick your battles.
Yeah. I liked Fire Emblem Warriors. I got a funny story to tell about this. On our way home from our vacation, it was another 11-hour car ride home. I was playing Fire Emblem Warriors. And I mentioned this on Twitter. I was playing Fire Emblem Warriors on the and we passed a store, I kid you not, called Tactical Shit.
Okay, then.
I started laughing out really bad because of the timing of what I was playing, and then
Playing a tactical game when you go past the store like that.
What I found funny about it is it was right when we got into St. Louis that store was. I was like, that kind of makes sense.
This is true. Yeah, they're known for their tactical shit.
So Missouri's just a tactical shit state then.
I thought
Great!
it was funny, but jokes aside, I really do like Fire Emblem Warriors. I like the 2 new characters they added in that game. I thought they were really decent. I liked the fact that they added new characters in the game, and I know they did that in Lana, but I do like the fact that I just like the game in general because I have a personal attachment to Awakening. Awakening is one of my favorite Fire Emblem games, so I was really happy to play through that game. And not only that, it's just I've grown to really like Dynasty Warriors now.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played the game myself, but from how much I enjoyed Hyrule Warriors, I think this one's a pretty solid entry. I think the best part about it is that it's on Switch, so you can play it as a home console game and a portable, and I feel like for Dynasty Warriors, I think that works the best, because this is great in both ways.
It having the multiplayer still, even though it's only on screen console, worked so well. I was so worried they were going to take that functionality away, but they didn't, and I was so glad. And I think having experienced Hyrule Warriors and Fire Emblem Warriors is making me really look forward to Dissidia NT next year. Because it's made by the same developers, and it's going to be very different to the other 2 Dissidias. So that's going to be fun to look forward to.
Okay. Well, I should have put that on my honorable mentions. Like, sometimes I'm listening to you guys.
You think of games when it's after the fact.
You think of games when we've done this for nearly 3 hours.
Yeah. But, alright, your number 3, I guess, then, is next?
No, Amber goes next.
Yeah, that's what I mean by Amber's.
Because her number 3 is going to
clear out everybody.
We're going to be talk. Her number 3.
Alright, my number 3 is Breath of the Wild.
Alright, this is my number 2.
That was my number 1.
Let
me get my points across, and then you guys can have at it. We'll go take about a 20-minute nap while you guys are talking about it. But jokes aside.
This was my number 1, by the way.
Yeah.
Let me make out the key points here that I have on these 2 pages here, which are both written in front and back, by the way. So, yeah.
There's a lot to talk about with this one.
Okay, the first key point I really did like about this game, and you guys can touch on this too if you want to. I liked how they actually put a real father and daughter relationship between Zelda and the King, because the games that I played for Zelda is like, hey, here's the King of Hyrule. We're not going to see him anymore, by the way, but here's the King.
But and now I'm a boat.
Now I'm a boat. Now I've been possessed. Now I'm dead.
But in this one, they
now I'll go get dinner.
Made him play a major part in the game, which I really like. And I like the fact that he was trying to get Zelda to pretty much activate her powers because they knew that Ganon was coming. And the only time she got to use her powers was after Ganon attacked and her dad was already dead at that point. Mm. And I found that really sad, but it was one of the major points that I like about this game.
It was really touching, actually, finding his journal entry.
Yes,
that's in the ruins.
Yeah.
Like, their backstory was real touching, and that's one of the best things about the game. Even though you don't have much story up front like the other Zelda games, the side stories you can see with these characters, it's really deep.
It is.
The second thing I wanted to talk about on this was Ganon himself. Okay, phone, I know you're dying. Thank you. I I like the Calamity Ganon form because it's different, in my opinion. And it wasn't just the fact that, like, okay, Ganon's at the castle, a couple hours pass by, you defeat him, game over. This one, it took 100 years for Ganon to build up his power enough to fight Link. And it took a while for Link to rebuild himself up with finding his memories and getting back everything he had before and fighting the Master Sword. It took a while, and I like that. I like how they spaced it out in this one. But
Finding his pants and shoes.
All of the pants and all of the shoes.
I like this form of Ganon because he not only took over Hyrule Castle, he killed the champions off, he took over the Divine Beast, he took over the Guardians, which I hate, by the way. I hate the Guardians. But I like this form of Ganon because it was a true monster, in my opinion. It wasn't just, let's just use his pig form again.
Oh, the demon.
Yeah, it was actually a different form. I mean, to be fair, he did go back to pig form later in the story. I don't want to spoil too much on that one, but it wasn't in the same ways we've seen in every other Zelda game where he appeared like that.
Alright, the next thing I want to point out, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to hurry so you guys can talk about it too on your points.
No, it's good. But a lot of these points we could just add on to this easily.
Yeah.
I like the champions because while they didn't have a lot of backstory besides the fact that they just controlled the Divine Beast and they were going to fight Ganon, but they sadly fell in battle with Ganon. I like how they have the unique abilities that you get after you save them from the Ganon forms that's in the beast. And I like Mipha's healing and Rivali's wind thing that gets you to go higher. I like those abilities because those really help out in the game when you're trying to, say, climb a cliff and it's fucking raining. You can use Rivali's wind to get up higher to get to a stable point where you're not falling all the way back down. I like the beasts themselves. I know they're considered the dungeons of the game, but I think they were really unique, and I don't mind just having 4 dungeons for a Zelda game. I mean, Majora's Mask did it, and that was fine with me, so I like the beasts because they were unique, and I like the bosses that you fight within the dungeons as well. And the last point I want to make is the shrines themselves. I like the shrines, and I do agree that some of them was a little ridiculous. There shouldn't have been 120-something shrines within the game. It would have been fine with stopping at 100. They didn't have to add the extra 20. But the shrines themselves were really unique too, because I think of them as mini dungeons in a way. I didn't think of them as just a trial to get an orb, to get a heart container, or half a stamina wheel. I thought of them as mini dungeons that helped you learn more about the game as you played. Like, oh, I can do this move. I didn't know about that. Thanks for teaching me this move within the shrine. But Breath of the Wild was my number 3. But if I could choose it to place it in the top 3, I would. Because this is one of the first games that I ever played that was open world. And I played it because it was Zelda, but I'm starting to like more open world games now because of this. I might even play Skyrim in the future because Zelda got me to like open world games. But that's my points on the game, and you guys can talk about it now too. So,
no, definitely, that's a lot of good points. Because I think what I loved the most about Breath of the Wild is, like you were saying, 1, it's open world. 2, the shrines push you to think of things without giving you the answer. But 3, it's because you're literally given 4 different item choices: 1-handed weapon, 2-handed weapon, shield, bow. You're not given a hook shot and a hammer and chain link thing and a spinning top and well, you are given a leaf. Okay, that's actually a bad example. Like a feather and a cape and all blah 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 blah. All of the puzzles are put to you. There is an ideal way of solving them. We know we got the hardback book literally within the week that we got the game, but there are so many different ways you can approach everything. You get to choose the way you play. And that kind of harkens back to Zelda 1. And I love that, because it means you can play the game however you want. If you want to go in and fight Ganon with 3 hearts, good luck. But it's doable.
Do it on Master
doable.
Mode. Go.
Sure, practice on a gold Lionel. Yeah, why not?
I'll tell you, that doesn't work.
Sure. No. Yeah. But like, even backseat gaming, I absorbed so much of that experience that there was so much put into the game that no Zelda game is ever going to feel like it can match that. And to continue, like, the ideal world scenario would be that Breath of the Wild could have DLC constantly adding to it.
And it did.
Or extra chapters or new experiences in that same vein. Because just the scale and the complexity and the detail that went into it, how do you top that? That's the trickiest thing about Breath of the Wild, is it's done so much and it is so amazing. And where do you go from there?
I have to
and
agree
it's so
with you.
hard to know what to take from that. Also, I frigging love that the level 9 dungeon music from Zelda 1 is all the music used for Death Mountain.
It just
I
came out
love
of nowhere.
that so much. The second I heard it, Jess is just going, there's something chasing me. What is it? What is going after me? I'm like, oh, it's just Zelda 1 music. Okay. Hi, incredibly tense piano. And I'm just sitting there humming along while Link's burning to death on screen.
You sadist, you.
That was my contribution to the situation.
All right, Lester, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, because I know you have the most probably, since this is your number one. But for me, I really enjoyed this one as well. This is one of the only open world games I've actually been able to beat. The only one being GTA 5, because it does definitely intrigue you and make you want to come back to more. Because every corner you turn, there's something there for you to do. It could be a shrine, could be some people to talk to for a side quest. It could be a Quark randomly hiding under a rock that's on your foot. There's so much to do. It's ridiculous to think about. And I do like a lot of the changes this game made. It took out the items for the rune system, and the runes reminded me a lot of the powers from Okami, where you have these different techniques used throughout your entire adventure. You don't get like the one spinner item and then shelf it after the 5th dungeon. It's nothing like that. You get to use these all the time. And I love stuff like that.
Bombs have never been so perfect.
The DLC is definitely a great addition to this game, because Master Mode might kick your butt, but it is a pretty good challenge. I do like that. We actually have a challenge like that in modern games again. And then, I haven't played Champion of the Ballad yet, but from what I've heard, it did add a lot of story to the game.
You are going to love it.
You are going to love it, Lester. I promise you that.
I've been hearing a lot of good things about that so far. And Trial of the Sword 2 is even a pretty interesting add-on, too.
It's a good 9 to 10 hours of extra content. I'll put it that way.
Wow. That sounds intriguing. I want to get to that soon. But this is definitely a fun time. It's the most different Zelda. I won't consider this one of my favorite Zeldas in the series, only because of how radically different it is. But it's one of my favorite games I played in the Zelda series, that's for sure. I've enjoyed it that much. It's very unique in that regard.
Also, if 120 shrines wasn't enough, have another 24.
Yeah, they add a lot more with that Ballad DLC. It's ridiculous. And the DLC is cheap, too. It's only $20, and you get that much content.
Yeah.
This game is huge.
It's nuts.
And that's a good segue to the person who's actually 100% this game.
Pretty much.
Okay, I'm sorry. I got completely dropped for a second.
That's
Okay,
alright.
we didn't miss
We were
much.
basically... We said nothing bad about you.
I know it was only like 20 seconds. But yeah, what number was this on your list, Lester?
This was number 2 for me.
That was number 2 for you. Okay, this was number 1 for me. Because this right here, I'd have to say, is really one of my favorite games of all time now. I love this game so much that I didn't expect to love it so much as I. You don't recognize you're playing your favorite game until it just hits you. This was kind of one of those moments with me. this was also one of my greatest gaming accomplishments this year. I actually went and 100%ed this game. All 900 Korok seeds, all 1 shrines. I did all the stone taluses and Moldolgas, and I even upgraded all my equipment, and I even went and got all the saddle equipment and armor and stuff like that. I did about everything you could possibly do in this game. I didn't finish the Trial of the only thing I haven't done.
Trial of the Sword's ridiculous.
Don't do it on Master. Oh my god, don't do it on Master.
Yes, do it on Master.
No, don't. I cannot get past half of the first trial. It's terribly hard.
Well, I'm still considering, putting off filling my compendium until March.
Oh, I did finish up my compendium too. I forgot about that too. But I even though I knew the rewards were not great for 100%ing it, when I got to that point, when I beat all 4 of the Divine Beasts, when I beat a majority of the shrines, I just sat there and I just like, I want to finish this. I want to finish this just for me. And I haven't felt that way with the game since, honestly, for me, I haven't felt that way since Wind Waker.
I was about to say, that would probably be. So
Wind Waker is my favorite Zelda game, but now, since Breath of the Wild, I can't tell which I like more, Breath of the Wild or Wind Waker.
That's a good sign.
That's because not only was it that this game has done, an excellent, vast exploration thing, which is something that I adore and I hold on deeply when it comes to gaming, is vast exploration. That's my favorite concept in any video game whatsoever. And not only that, it's just like they put so much detail in this game. You go into a snowy area, Link starts shivering. He kicks a chest with his bare feet. He stubs his toe and starts crying. And not only that, the cooking mechanic, I love that little gosh darn jingle. Every time I make a new cooking thing, there was this charm that I just loved. I don't know if I think it might be part of nostalgia, and part of something like I realize I'm really enjoying myself. But to me, Zelda Breath of the Wild kind of it touched that part of my heart that I just love this game so much. And I love the characters in the game. I felt like this is the most characterization we've had for Zelda since Skyward Sword. And Skyward Sword had pretty good characterization of Zelda. And I love the champions. Every champion had a different quirk. My favorite being Mipha's. Mipha. I love Mipha. And I know, Amber, yours is Rivali. I understand why you
I love that asshole.
I know. I understand why you like Rivali.
He's
the
Falco of Zelda.
To me, it's just like, I like the characters. And that's why it's my number 1, because I can't say that about any other game on this list. And I know that, I literally was looking all over for Zelda Breath of the Wild, and I think I can only find one thing, and that's the gosh darn motion control puzzles in the shrines. That's it.
Well, I mean, Matt, they're not terrible. I mean, one shrine even makes the motion control platform the shape of the Joy-Con grip. So you know exactly how it's going to be laid out. So you just
and you found that one trick where we could cheat that one.
Yeah, some of these you could just kind of jump over.
I know. I'm just talking about, I'm playing it with the Pro Controller. I didn't play it with the Joy-Cons. And moving that stuff around with the motion controls was like, I best described it on Twitter. I said, it's like playing with a vat of Play-Doh. I think that's the best way I can describe it, playing with the Joy-Con, or with, the Pro Controller.
Yeah, it's a little messy.
It's just messy, because, I was turning the controller backwards and everything else to make it move. I know that's probably not how you're supposed to do it, but...
That's how we all did it, though.
That's how we all did it. But,
how do you make this move?
But, honestly, there's very few games I just wanna. I'm a completionist. I like 100% in games, but there's no other games where there's not too many games where I make it my personal mission to finish it.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay. That's why Breath of the Wild is my number one pick of all time. So,
Okay.
well, for this year in particular.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, we're moving on to our number
Well,
twos.
it's not
And
okay.
I already said my number 2, and that was Breath of the Wild. And now I'm getting this one right. Amber, you already said your number 2 with the Digimon. Please tell me I got
Yes.
it right. Thank God.
Now we're lined up.
All right. Now you're
I
on
get to
your
still
number
do
2,
my number
Marley.
1.
This
I
is
didn't
true.
get to do my number 3 though.
What was your number 3? I thought you did.
Super Mario Odyssey.
Oh, okay. There's why. Because that's my number 1.
Do we want to do those in conjunction after?
I guess.
Yeah.
Why don't I'll just put it this way? My number 3 was Super Mario. Since it's Lester's number 1, let's wait until we get to his number 1.
Yeah.
But I'll
okay.
just put it this way: Super Mario Odyssey, and I'll talk about it whenever we get there. But Super Mario Odyssey is my number 3.
Okay.
Now, my number 2 actually is part of the reason why Digimon is so low on the list. My number 2 is actually Monster Hunter Stories, which I initially wasn't sure I was going to enjoy as much as I enjoyed Generations, but I really did. And playing the demo when it came out, got to the end of the demo. The demo is the first roughly hour and a half to 2 hours worth of gameplay in demo form. You get to the next plot point after that, and it says, see you in the full game, and you just go, no, don't do this to me.
Damn it,
This
where's my
game
wallet?
isn't coming out for another month.
Take my money.
I
Leave it
can't
now.
wait another month. Monster Hunter Stories to me was, okay, I've played my Pokemon Sun, sorted that out. I need another RPG in that vein. What do we have? Monster Hunter Stories. Think when you're playing Monster Hunter, except instead of carving the crud out of the monsters, you're hatching them from eggs and riding around on them. And it is incredibly enjoyable, and all of the same Monster Hunter mechanics are there of crafting and combining items, hunting down monsters, trapping them in battles, but it's a little more Pokemon-esque because it's turn-based. And you can do combo abilities with your monsties, as they are, because they're your ally ones and not your enemy ones. And the variety of ones you can hatch is actually really good, and it's nearly on a weekly basis still getting DLC that the people in Japan have had since like January. It's ridiculous.
And plus, there's amiibo of them.
Yes, there's amiibo stuff as well. Like Monster Hunter Stories quite possibly has my favorite set of amiibo because they're interchangeable. You can take the riders off the monsters and put them on the other monsters, and it's so
I still need
clever.
to get those. Those are the only amiibo I don't have.
Like,
No, you
it's
don't.
so dang clever. And it had an anime that apparently was
Hey,
received
yeah.
mediocrely, but like more Monster Hunter stuff is always welcome. I love the amount of detail and fun that you can have with it, and it still feels like a Monster Hunter game, but at a pace that can appeal to people differently. And I really like that because I feel like that very intense, constant attention hunting process is very off-putting to people, and having it in more of a turn-based RPG context, I think makes that genre and that series a little more broad for people, which means it can get a lot more people interested. And I really enjoyed playing that. And the only game that made me happier than that was Breath of the Wild. So that really speaks to me that this little RPG is a spin-off of a series where you kill monsters, but instead you ride on them. It just I had so much fun with it.
Are you looking forward to Monster Hunter World next
Oh,
year?
yes, I am. Without question, it's going to be ballistic. Like, it is setting the bar very high for next year.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Marley. I still need to
Definitely
play
did.
it. It's on my shelf over there. I need to play it when I get a chance.
Meh.
With my other-
Okay, well,
Oh,
that
she's
sums that
still
one up.
bitter because I put it above Digimon.
Okay, so that was your number 2.
That was my number 2.
Okay.
What was your number 2?
Digimon.
Digimon?
Okay, so at that point, Amber, why don't you give us your number 1?
Alright, because I know nobody else has their own list. I'll go through it briefly. But my number 1 was Resident Evil. Funny, because I started off with Resident Evil and I'm ending with Resident Evil.
Yeah, right? All comes back.
Talk about this was that one game I had on my surprising games list that I decided to take off because this was her number 1 and I didn't want to
Excuse me, I'm talking here. No, I'm joking. Go ahead and say what you're going to say.
Well, this was on my surprising list and I didn't want to take it away because I knew it was her number 1 and I wanted her to talk about it. That's why I decided to retract it. That's all I was going to say.
Alright, so Resident Evil 7 is my number 1. And oh my god, it's like Capcom remembered what Resident Evil used to be.
Wait, Resident Evil's horror?
Yeah, surprisingly, right?
I thought it was just about Chris punching boulders.
Well, he could because he's technically in the game, but
I heard that's actually in the DLC. He can punch things again.
I'm not surprised. But it is a true classic Resident Evil again with the horror genre. And it does have new characters. There's no Leon, there's no Jill or anything like that in it. But it has an interesting set of new characters that are really funny. I like the character called Jack Baker because there's a scene where you're trying to escape the house and you get in the car to drive out and he gets in the car with you and he takes over the steering wheel and he says, "Nice car, Ethan," as you're trying to drive away.
She started laughing at that. We both laughed at that moment.
One thing about this game that is different from the other main series Resident Evils is it's all played in first person view. There's no third person. But there's also no quit time events. That's a first since Resident Evil 4 started the quit time events within the series.
Thank God, might I add. I think that's a trope we need to get rid of.
And I like that because I don't have to be worried about something chasing me and then do a quit time event and mess it up. So the jump scares are actually jump scares. They're not within seconds of each other. They're actually spread out and they're really good jump scares. There's a part where the game gets really dark all of a sudden and you think something's going to jump out at you, but it doesn't. It actually does something different that's way scarier. So if you want to find that out, play the game. But there is some gore in the game as well, but it's not. Capcom did a really good job with that where they made it just right, in my opinion. Really good personalities. And I think Capcom did a really good job with that too. Like the main character, which I said his name earlier, was Ethan. He'll actually give you hints on what to do within the next stage of the game. He might mention something that you may not pick up on, and because you didn't pick up on it, it could kill you. But you have to really pay attention to what the characters say. You can't be just listening to the music or something, in which the music is also really good, and that's a bad thing because that can be a distraction. So if you like survival horrors, I suggest giving this game a shot if you're into that stuff, or if you like Resident Evil. This is basically Capcom's reboot of the series, in my opinion. They went back to Resident Evil roots and did an amazing job with it. So that's my number 1.
You didn't think you were going to like this?
I didn't think I was going to like it because it looked different to me, but once I started playing it, I realized it was true Resident Evil, and that made me happy.
I only actually got to play the demo of this when I was working on the PS4 footage, and the demo itself is a standalone story compared to the actual game, so it just leads into the events. But this is very terrifying, so they did go back to their roots. There's a lot of genuine horror I've seen with Resident Evil 7, and that I think is good, because they needed to kind of get back to that after how silly Resident Evil 5 and 6 were.
It's also the best VR game out there, right?
Dude, I can't imagine playing this game in VR.
If you get a PlayStation VR, get Resident Evil 7
I played in VR.
This game it won best VR game of this year, so.
From what I've seen, it probably looked like one of the best games to play in that setting. It really does make you feel like you're in that setting and horrified, trying to get out of that mansion.
If we get PlayStation VR, I know you want that.
It makes you feel like sometimes, and you want to turn around and look, but you're scared to look.
Yeah.
That's how the game makes you feel.
Jack Baker bursting through the wall with a shovel.
Yeah.
It's
Nice
good.
car, Ethan. Let me hit you with a shovel.
Yeah, that was my surprising game too, because I was genuinely surprised because at first when they showed this off at E3, I think last year, I literally thought it was just Capcom trying to capitalize the Silent Hills demo PT. That was it. But Capcom really proved themselves with this game, and I'm really happy about that. We both love the characters, and the mystery of the story is really good too. And it was just a genuinely good game, and I loved it.
Oh, and I will say this. They didn't forget about Wesker either, because there's a point in the game where you get a gun that's called the Wesker.
Or Albert.
I think it's called the Wesker.
I think it is.
It's the strongest gun in the game, too.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Okay. So
that was your number one. Matt, did you say your number two?
My number two was the Crash Insane Trilogy. I have never played a compilation of video games, like a video game compilation, all at once until Crash Insane Trilogy came out. I grew up with Crash Bandicoot, as probably most of you guys did too. And when
that's Dark Souls, right?
Dark 3D platform. Anyways, I love the Bandicoot. I've always loved Bandicoot since I was a kid. I borrowed Crash 2 from a friend of mine for like weeks on end, and I kept playing it until I beat it eventually. And when they announced that they were remaking Crash, I was worried that it was, simple HD port. That's all. That's what I was really worried about. But no, they actually went from the ground up and built it into the Insane Trilogy, and I absolutely love it. The artwork is really great. I love it. It still has the same. It's still Crash Bandicoot like I remember it. They fixed a lot of the problems that plagued the first game. I'm very thankful for that, because I know for a fact I will never go back to the first game now that I know the first game exists on the Insane Trilogy.
Oh, that first game on PS1, especially when compared to Insane Trilogy, is just trash now.
I want to do the race, Matt.
I want to do a race of Crash 1. Yes.
I'll start digging the graves. None of the fiddlies.
I just loved it. It was a grand. It's the first games I platinumed on my PS4. I'll put it that. That made it. They were special enough to be my first on PS4 games, stuff like that. And the Stormy Ascent made me want to rent my hair out, but I eventually did it.
That's where that gray hair came
That's
from.
where the gray hair. But that was my number two. Was the Crash Insane Trilogy.
Okay, yeah, because that was on my honorable mentions for a lot of the same reasons. It's a good, solid remake. I'm just glad that these guys did this good of a job with it, since Activision wasn't only doing anything with the series. They were really only doing Skylander stuff. So seeing this was a nice treat.
I really hope they do the same with Spyro. I'm really hoping they.
Yeah, that'd be a nice thing to do.
Fingers crossed for a reboot of Wrath of Cortex, and
I would love that.
If they fix the issues with that, I'll be down for that kind of a remake too. Just don't give us the original PS2 loading times. Don't do that.
Okay, so Marley said his number 2. Amber said number 1. I said my number 1 and number 2.
Yeah,
so
and Marley, you also said your number 1 as well as Zelda, right?
I have, yeah.
All right, so at this point, we're just down to one last game, which was my number 1, and your number 3, Matt, which was Super Mario Odyssey.
I didn't want to open this can of worms.
Yeah, and to be fair, this is probably a good note to end this discussion on with this game, because it definitely is one of the highlights of gaming this year. Like, if there's a reason why it's my number 1, it made me feel like a kid again, just flat out. It made me feel like I was playing Super Mario 64 in the HD realm.
I 100%ed this game too this year too, which made me really happy. I managed to 100% both main game of the year.
I'm so close right now. I have like 715 moons last time I checked. I'm getting close.
You're almost there.
You're almost
I just have
there,
like
Lester.
4 more kingdoms to go through, I think. Maybe 5. There's not that much left, but I've been going back to this a lot more on my own time. It's just a lot of fun. It has so much charm. There's a lot of callbacks, kind of like Sonic Mania did, where it references so much throughout the series. Some stuff you know about and some stuff that's very obscure. But there's even references to old commercials we didn't see here in the States. There's just that much charm.
Oh yeah, the Japanese costume, the costume, the Japanese advertisement.
Some of my favorite costumes in the game are the Mario 64 Mario and then Metal Mario, which is basically the Super Mario 64 one, but metal. And I love it. It's great.
I love the fact of the New Donk City Festival. Pretty much a whole callback to the original.
That is
Mario.
a highlight. That's
Donkey
one of my
Kong.
favorite parts of the game.
Yes.
I love that. That is my favorite part of the game. I love the festival. It is my favorite part of the game.
I start dancing to the song every time I hear
Yeah,
it.
the main theme in general is great.
Jump Up Superstar.
But there's just so much charm to this game. The capture ability is great. I mean, what other game can you say you control a T-Rex in the first level? It's amazing. Mario's movement is fantastic. It's on that same level as Mario 64, but I feel like even more advanced here just because there's so much you can do. Because of that, you can do things a lot of times out of order. I've gotten moons in ways they never expect you to do because of Mario's movement with Cappy. It's so good. And I gotta say, as soon as I beat the game, I stopped using the Pro Controller. This game is fantastic for Joy-Cons. It's really, really good just to play this game with the 2 controllers in separate hands.
Yeah. Joy-Cons are awesome. I mean, yeah, a lot of people were upset that there was motion controls in this, but the motion controls are just fine. I love them.
They're good. Honestly, they're pretty good. I feel like it's in that same level of motion controls that the Galaxy games kind of had, where it works.
The Galaxy.
And I gotta say, the ending to this game is fantastic. It's one of the best endings I've seen in a Mario game in years.
That ending.
Pretty good testament to it, like a series that's usually just like find princess, save world. Yes.
While the story is pretty much that, there's more world building this time that you can kind of forgive it this time around.
Well, of course, there's not new at the start of the title, so they got to do.
They did it. But I have not played a Mario game that made me feel like a kid like this in years. The last game that made me feel even close to this level was Galaxy 2 in 2010. And before that, it was when I was an actual kid playing Sunshine, because I was only a handful of years after 64. It's been a long time, and I'm glad that we got something like this. It really does help the Switch, because it's already outselling the Wii U in Japan, and it's definitely going to boost up numbers even higher from this point on. And with a game like Odyssey, you can see why.
It outsold it this morning.
It's ridiculous how fast it's selling.
That's
R.I.P.
insane.
R.I.P. Wii U.
But that's why it's my
Someone's
number
been
one.
staring at the numbers, waiting for that to happen.
But that's why Odyssey is my number one. It's just, this is definitely a game that has
Like,
made me
I
have a
don't blame
huge
you, Lester.
smile.
That's how.
let's look at it this way: for the console, it was going to be one mascot or the other,
It's basically, if you...
and I am totally unbiased about that. That's totally
It basically
fine.
comes down to the game of the year for a lot of people. It's either Odyssey or Breath of the Wild, because these both are huge hits that just, they did great things for the series.
And then that squeaking voice in the audience is like, "Well, I like Samus." Good on you, person.
But guess what? You'll get it next.
You
Nah.
get it Prime 4, yeah.
Yeah, Metroid Prime 4 is coming. I mean, not only that, you're getting a Pokemon on there
And then
too.
we got our Kirby and Yoshi.
So,
A new Kirby.
I know.
Kirby and Yoshi.
Oh yeah, Kirby's going to be fantastic. That's going to be
Wolfenstein
insane.
2's coming.
And it's already great. I've heard great things about it from this year's release.
Mega Man 11, Oddworld Soulstorm. Next
I
year's gonna
think
be
if
good
it's
for
still on
gaming.
route, Freedom Planet 2. I'm really looking forward to that one.
Kingdom Hearts 3.
There's a lot coming, and we hope that one's one of them.
Try another 2018 days. John.
Okay. Episode 1 of Final Fantasy 7. Episode 1 of 12.
Any news about Final Fantasy 7 at all, please?
Apparently more artwork of the characters becoming. I
No,
heard that much. So,
I'll say this. You know when Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out, because Matt will be Toy Story World pictures all over Twitter.
And that's why we have mute buttons.
yeah, probably.
Well, I think that does it for our lists.
yeah.
I think we've
Yeah,
cleared it
this,
out now.
as you can tell, we went on for a while, but there's just that much to talk about. There's a lot that came out this year, and there's definitely a lot of highlights. I'm just hoping 2018 is going to be a strong year for gaming, too. I also hope it's a little bit slower, because, oh my god, I cleaned us out this year. there was a big release like every
Yeah,
other week.
I was broke. Nintendo made me broke in November.
Yeah, that in March.
And March, yeah.
March was the bigger one.
March made me mad.
March Madness?
Oh, yeah. Also, next year we got Bayonetta.
Yeah,
Dude,
the port, and then there's development on 3. There's just a lot coming. I'm hoping for a lot of good things for 2018. 2017, though, was definitely a really good highlight.
Definitely.
This has been one of the better years for gaming in a while.
Yeah, I think the last time we had a year this strong was probably 2010.
2010, 2011.
So now everyone can take a break and give us time to catch up.
I feel like 2018, at least for me, it's going to be the year of the backlog. Because there's a lot of backlog.
I think 2011.
Every year is the year of the
a
backlog.
year too. We got 2011 had Sonic Generation, Skyrim, and Skyward Sword,
And LA North.
and Ellen. Well,
Yeah.
2011.
Well,
This
that's
But
for
to be
PC.
fair, Matt, every year was Skyrim.
well, 2011
No,
is when
every year was
Skyrim
Minecraft.
first came out. Should have said that.
Ugh.
I don't care. Skyrim is one of my favorite games. Y'all
We
can hate
know.
on it. Y'all can hate on it all you want, but still.
Here's hoping 2018's a pretty strong year for gaming as well.